the National Football League. Today, from Cleveland Stadium, it's the New York Jets versus the Cleveland Browns. Brought to you by Budweiser, proud sponsor of the 1988 U.S. Olympic team. This Bud's for you. By Mitsubishi Motors, who invites you to come see the full line of cars and trucks. Mitsubishi, suddenly the obvious choice. And by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler.
It's a beautiful day in Cleveland, 77 degrees on the shores of Lake Erie as the Cleveland Browns host the New York Jets. The Browns who beat Kansas City 6-3 in their opener a week ago, and the Jets who played poorly and losing to New England 28-3. And hello, everybody. Mel Proctor along with one of the legends, Al D. Rogatis. As we get ready for the start of today's game, the Jets will be kicking off. Cleveland won the toss and elected to receive. Pat Leahy set to get this one underway for the Jets, and back deep, 83, Glenn Young, and Herman Fontenot, 28 for the Browns. And we are underway from cavernous Cleveland Stadium. Young will take it at the 2. Good run back by Glenn Young, getting a little help and busted out to the 34-yard line. So the Browns will have excellent field position. Young, who led the AFC in kickoff returns in 1985, was just re-signed this week. Tackle made by the Jets' Carl Howard, and you're looking at Gary Danielson, who takes over following a 32-yard return. He replaces the injured Kozar quarterback. Viner and Mack, the running backs. Brian Brennan replaces Webster Slaughter, who's hurt. An offsides penalty against the Jets was declined. Big offensive line, one of the biggest in football. They average 6'6" and 282 pounds. First down for the Cleveland Browns at the 34-yard line. Danielson to throw on first down. And completes it to Ernest Viner for a first down. Viner, who was the Browns' leading receiver a year ago. And what do we expect now from Cleveland with Danielson at the controls rather than Kozar?
Well, it was kind of interesting, Mel, to watch that first play. Everything led up to the fact that the Cleveland Browns were going to try to dominate the line of scrimmage by running those two big backs. And with really no great surprise, it didn't surprise me at all that they threw. And I wouldn't be at all surprised. Somewhere very briefly or shortly, they'll be throwing it deep to Ernest Viner.
First down at the 46. The Jets starting two rookies in the secondary, so Danielson may try to exploit them. Another pass. Danielson to Reggie Langhorn. Langhorn brought down to Jets 49 by Bobby Humphrey. Langhorn, who may be the deep threat today with Webster Slaughter sidelined with a pulled hamstring.
This, Mel, is one of the very important quarters, I think, of the entire year for the New York Jets. If they can stop this team right now and generate some kind of a running game, maybe we'll have a football game. But right now, Cleveland looks overpowering.
Second down at the Jets 49. Two pass plays in the initial two plays by the Browns. Danielson, the 11-year veteran who turned 37 yesterday, the oldest quarterback in the league. And Ozzie Newsome can't hold it as he took a pop from Rich Miano. Newsome, the great veteran who has caught a pass in 128 consecutive games. That's the second longest streak in NFL history. Seattle Steve Largent has caught one in 153 straight games.
And now we see some situation substitution. Nichols has gone in at that nose tackle position. He generates some pretty good pass rush. So let's see if they can get at least close to Gary Danielson.
Gerald McNeil is in at wide receiver. The ice cube for the Browns flanked out to the near side. Third down and 5. Another pass for the Browns, and it's batted down. Does it surprise you, Al, that Cleveland is throwing so much so early?
Well, I think what Marty Schottenheimer must have been thinking is that Joe Walton was going to prepare for the run, so he was going to come with the pass. Now, right now, the New York Jets are set up perfectly for a quick screen. They could fake a screen left and come screen right because their backs are making deep drops and the linemen are putting on a fair pass rush, set up for a screen pass.
Tom Dooley, the referee this afternoon.
Offsides. Defense. Third down.
So an offsides penalty against the New York Jets as we look at Joe Walton in his 6th year as the Jets head coach. He said he expected Marty Schottenheimer would try to ram the ball down the Jets' throats. He expected them to run with Mack and Biner, but so far the Browns have put up 4 straight passes.
That's right, and it's a bit of a surprise to everyone, but then again, you know, Gary Danielson's been around. He knows how to play this football game. But they'll be running well before it's over, that's for sure.
3rd and 1 at the 45, double tight ends for the Browns with Newsom and 81, Derek Tennell. Irvin Flotno is in motion, and the give is to Mack. He's got the first down, running like a Mack truck to the 38-yard line. Tackle made by the left cornerback, Bobby Humphrey, and the right corner, rookie James Hasty.
Now, that didn't surprise me at all. You figure they're going to be going at Gastineau. Mark Gastineau has a tendency to take it down the line of scrimmage on a running play. If that linebacker behind him doesn't cover him to the outside, you've got some problems against the run.
Brennan and McNeil, the wide receivers. Danielson going long for Brennan. He's open downfield, and Brian Brennan is out of bounds at the 1-yard line. There's a penalty marker back upfield near the line of scrimmage, but a 37-yard completion from Danielson to Brennan, who just stepped out before the end zone. He got behind Eric McMillan, one of the 2 rookies in the Jets secondary.
Let's take a look at how they're playing Mark Gastineau on this pass. Mark's been criticized. He hasn't been getting a lot of pressure. There's the. I think we see the penalty right there. It is a holding penalty.
Holding called on 63, Cody Rice, in the right tackle.
Right.
So that wipes out the big gainer, and the ball is brought back to the 48. It'll be 1st and 20 now as a result of the penalty. Clarence Weathers is in at wide receiver, split out to the far side along with Langhorne, and Biner out on the wide right. The lone setback is Kevin Mack. Both backs are excellent receivers. Danielson trying to hit Biner and throws it away. He got decked by Marty Lyons. Rich Miano defending on the play for the Jets. Al, I think we both sense different moods, different atmospheres around these 2 teams. The Browns in practice yesterday, very loose, having a lot of fun, kidding around. The Jets, on the other hand, seem to be very uptight, a lot more businesslike.
A little apprehensive, I thought. Well, you see the confidence of a team that knows they're a team, and the Jets are trying desperately to become a team. It's going to take them a while to get that together.
2nd down 20 at the 48-yard line. Danielson filling the stadium with footballs and tries to dump it off, and that was a lineman, Dan Fike. Ball is loose and picked up by the Jets. Alex Gordon down the sidelines, and he's knocked out of bounds. A strange play as Danielson appeared to try to pass to his right guard, Fike. The ball was jarred loose, and Gordon picked it up. By the way, we'd like to welcome viewers from the Miami Buffalo game. Mel Proctor with Al D. Rogatis in Cleveland, as the Jets and Browns are just getting underway.
We're seeing, sorry, Mel, we're seeing a little bit more pressure from that New York Jet defensive unit. Alex Gordon played a good football game last week, and he looks like he's going to be a good one. He's constantly coming. And Marty Lyons played well last week, and he's giving a lot of pressure.
And I think they're going to review this one. Replay official taking a look, Ralph Moorcroft, on the previous play. You've seen Danielson go down hard a couple of times. Mike Pagel is a backup quarterback, and if he should get hurt, as we see Kozar talking with Danielson, Brian Brennan, a wide receiver, would be the emergency quarterback. .13-14 remaining in the first quarter here in Cleveland. These 2 teams engaged in a memorable shootout in January of 1987 with the Browns winning in double overtime. They're going to bring it back. Apparently, it was not a fumble. Tom Dooley still trying to get things sorted out. It will be the Jets' ball, but back at the Cleveland 48, which was where the ball was fumbled. Ken O'Brien, who was sacked 5 times last week against New England, and it'll be up to the offensive line to provide some protection for him today. Joe Walton made a last-minute change. 5-year veteran Ted Banker will start at left guard in place of Mike Haight. Walton felt that he needed more experience to team up with a rookie left tackle, Dave Cadigan, and the second-year center, Jim Sweeney.
The replay official, the play will stand. You cannot advance a backward pass. It's the Jets' ball, 1st and 10.
So it was a backwards pass by Danielson. You cannot advance it. The Jets recovered. They'll have a first down at the Cleveland 48, but they get that big break they were looking for. And the handoff to the fullback, Roger Vick. Now, what do we expect offensively from the Jets? Joe Walton said he wants to establish a running game, but he get kind of the idea that he might want to strike with a big play.
Well, he may, but, you know, they're going to be covering out soon very closely. Wesley Walker has the speed. I see Wesley going off now. But I kind of like what I just saw. That offensive line took across that line of scrimmage and handled fairly respectably a very good defensive front for the Cleveland Browns.
Number of games just getting underway. 2nd down 7 at the 45-yard line. Mickey Schuler, the tight end, is in motion. And the handoff again to Vick with a blocker in front of him. And Vick is across the 40 to the 38, where he's brought down by Mike Johnson, the left inside linebacker.
Now the guard does a good job on this play pulling. Kurt Sohn is out in front of it. There wasn't a good cutback on the inside. Here he comes to the outside. If there was any kind of a cutback that took away the inside flow, you might have had a big play. We've got 3rd and short.
That was Dan Alexander, the right guard, who got out in front of that play and pulled and threw that nice block. 3rd down 2 at the 40. Schuler in motion to the near side. And O'Brien underneath Al Toon coming back to make the reception for a first down. Toon, who is back in action today after missing the New England game with a pulled groin. They really missed him. He was the leading receiver in the AFC last year with 68 catches. Set a club record in 1986 with 85 receptions.
Here's a good time to keep our eye on these linebackers. Now, he completed the pass. He's got a first down situation. There was some penetration by that defensive front, but if they're going to get to it, we might keep our eye on number 56 or 57. These are the 2 outside men, Grayson and Matthews for the Browns.
First down at the 33. The give is to Freeman McNeil trying to get outside. And he's knocked out of bounds at the 26-yard line by free safety Felix Wright. McNeil, who's among the best running backs in the NFL when he's healthy. Played in only 9 games last year. He was hurt again, a pulled hamstring, missed the last 3 games, and for the first time in his career did not score a touchdown.
Freeman McNeil, as you said, I liked him. I liked the way he ran last week. His percentages weren't all that good and all, but only 2.8 average, but he is a good runner.
2nd down 3 at the 26. Play action by O'Brien. And the pass complete to Vick. He's got a first down deep in Cleveland territory. Mike Junkin drags him down. Roger Vick, the first-round pick a year ago out of Texas A&M. He slimmed down, lost 17 pounds, and he's much quicker.
Roger Vick can do just about everything. That was a good call. Mickey Schuler was out there taking it deep. He goes. Roger Vick takes it to the flat, beating the linebacker. Excellent pass. Pretty good protection. Jets look pretty good.
And it would give the Jets a big lift if they could score on this first possession, wouldn't it?
Well, it'd be dynamite for them, and Cleveland will have to really muscle down here.
1st and goal at the 9. The give is to Vick, and he is stacked up. Hit by Big Daddy Carl Hairston, number 78, who straightened him right up. And Hairston may be shaken up. He's the captain of the defensive unit, 13-year veteran from Maryland Eastern Shore.
Yeah, once again, you get a good view of Dan Alexander pulling. Here's a good ground level view. Now, the inside flow is what's hurting them. Freeman McNeil was unable to cut down the man on the inside. Hairston makes an excellent play.
Hairston is shaken up. The Browns incurred a lot of injuries last week. Kevin Mack hurt his neck. Frank Minifield pulled a groin. Of course, Kozar strained ligaments in his elbow. He'll be out 4 to 8 weeks. Webster Slaughter is out this game with a pulled hamstring. Gerald McNeil got banged up. Matt Barr, the kicker, also got hurt. So they had a lot of injuries. And Marty Schottenheimer said one time he looked over on the bench late in the game and he had 5 Pro Bowlers on the sidelines with injuries.
Incredible. And, you know, Mel, we talked about this last evening, just the size of the athletes. They are so enormous. Today, unfortunately, we're playing on regular grass. It is an artificial surface. So the injuries are really the impact of very big people hitting.
Darrell Sims, number 99, a former first-round pick of the Pittsburgh Steelers, has replaced Hairston. Second down and goal at the 10-yard line, a loss of 1 yard in the previous play. Tight end Billy Griggs in motion, play action fake. O'Brien with plenty of time, and he throws it away. Couldn't find anyone open in the end zone.
Now they triple team Al Toon on that particular play. Now if you triple team Al Toon, somebody's got to be open. He had fairly good blocking. He moved out of the pocket nicely. Look for something short. One of the backs, perhaps, possibly Shula. He's the man that seems to be the most logical guy to go to.
Wesley Walker bringing in a play from the sidelines. Joe Walton shuttles in plays with his wide receivers. It'll be 3rd down 10. 9:55 remaining, first quarter. Johnny Hector is in the backfield. He's an excellent receiver. 3rd and goal from the 10. O'Brien's pass is complete to Hector, but ridden out of bounds at the 5, and it'll bring up a 4th down situation as rookie Brian Washington knocked him out of bounds.
Now, the good part about that, Mel, is, again, the New York Jets are winning the first quarter. I felt very strongly that this was going to be the most important quarter, probably the entire year for them, and they've handled it extremely well.
So Pat Leahy will be forced to try a 22-yard field goal. He's missed only once inside the 40 last year. Very accurate. Hit a 29-yarder last week for the Jets' only score. Pat Ryan spots it down, and the kick is good. So the Jets have taken the lead on a 22-yard field goal by Pat Leahy, who last week moved into the top 10 in NFL scoring, passing former Browns kicker Don Cockroft. He's now 10th all-time. 3-0 Jets. That has to give New York a lift, scoring, taking the lead early.
Remember, that's what happened last week, though. That's the last time they scored. It was in the first quarter last week, and they did it the same way.
Well, the Browns were driving downfield. Danielson completed a long pass to Brian Brennan at the 1, but that was negated because of a penalty. And then Danielson throwing a backwards pass, a fumble that was recovered by the Jets, and that led to a field goal as they take the lead.
Well, you know, Mel, okay, we saw what Marty tried to do. He crossed up Joe a little, but he didn't score. He put the football up in the air. Now I have the feeling it's time to take charge. It's time now for the Cleveland Browns to try to dominate that line of scrimmage with the running attack that we think they can do. You know, when you have a Kevin Mack and an Ernest Biner, you've got two of the very best. So let's see if we're right. Will he now change that strategy and go back to what wins for him, and that's the running attack?
Pat Leahy getting ready to kick off for the Jets. The Jets who finished 6-9 last year and in last place, facing a team that has been picked by many to win the Super Bowl championship this year. The Cleveland Browns, twice they have made it to the AFC championship game, only to fall to Denver. 2 years ago, John Elway led a 98-yard march right in the game as Denver tied it and won it on the Rich Carlos field goal. Then last year, of course, the Ernest Biner fumble in the last minute that would have tied the score, and the Broncos won again. Leahy's kickoff deep into the end zone, and Glenn Young will not run it out. So the Browns will have the ball, 1st and 10 at the 20. 9:38 remaining first quarter here at Cleveland Stadium. A crowd of around 75,000 expected. 80,000 is capacity. The game was not sold out. The Browns lead the all-time series 7-3. How does it feel to be back in the saddle, D. It's been 13 years since you did a game for NBC.
It seems like yesterday, Mel, but you've grown up in that time. I mean, I've gotten white hair, but you've done very well.
I can remember sitting around in my diapers.
You're very
drinking
cute.
milk out of a bottle, watching you.
They're very cute at your age.
First down at the 20. Biner and Mack are the running backs. Brennan and Langhorne the wide receivers. Kevin Mack straight ahead. Mack in his 4th year out of Clemson, and a fight breaks out in the backfield. Reggie Langhorne getting into it with James Hasty, the rookie quarterback for the Jets. Joe Walton facing the sidelines.
I kind of enjoying the strategy that we're seeing right here. It's a chess game, and Joe Walton and his defensive coordinator, Bud Carson, is really winning it right now. They were set for the run, and sure enough, the Browns came with the run.
Marty Schottenheimer said it's difficult to prepare for the Jets because Bud Carson will give you so many different looks defensively. Clarence Weathers is in at wide receiver for Cleveland. And the give is to Biner. Hit initially by the left linebacker, Alex Gordon. So in their first drive, the Browns were throwing a lot of passes, now going back to the running game. Let's throw it to New York now, and Len Berman and NFL Live.
Thank you, Mel. A dramatic victory for the 49ers over the Giants in the Meadowlands. 42 seconds to go. Joe Montana deep to Jerry Rice, who beats Mark Collins. Play covers 78 yards. San Francisco 20, Giants 17.
Thank you, Len. So a shocker for the Giants, your old team.
Oh, what a shocker.
3rd down 5 for the Browns at the Cleveland 25. Danielson hammered to the turf by Mark Gastineau. Well, it's Gastineau going into his little act. This is his little history involved here in a preseason game between these two teams. He beat a free agent tackle by the name of Tony Jones, who's now on injured reserve. Beat him for a sack, went into the sack dance, and that really enraged the Browns players and their fans. So he is not well liked here in Cleveland.
No, I don't get the feeling that he's loved.
Lee Johnson to punt. JoJo Townsend is back, and it's a high, short punt. Takes a poor bounce, takes a Jets bounce, and goes out of bounds at the 36-yard line. And we got another little altercation. Only a 15-yard kick by Johnson. Well, the Bills beating Miami 9-6 in a close one. And then Paul McGuire said the Bills were going to win big. And as he mentioned, the 49ers with the upset over the Giants. The Bears over the Colts in a close one. New Orleans beat Atlanta. Tampa Bay winning by 3 over the Packers. The Raiders leading Houston 7-0. Well, last week in their loss to New England, the Jets were plagued by poor field position, but so far they've had excellent field position in this first half. They begin this drive to Cleveland 36. It looked like Al Toon slipped down as the pass goes incomplete.
They're extremely conscious, and rightfully so, of Al Toon. Everybody, their cornerback is taken to the outside. The free safety's looking for him the inside, and the linebacker is making a drop. On that play, Troy Benson was dropping to that side. So he can become the decoy, and someone can become the hero. Someone else, that is.
Last week, the Jets' best field position was their own 39, and their average starting point on 13 drives was their own 23. So they've got excellent field position, and Joe Walton said that would be a key. We've got to have good field position. Handoff to Johnny Hector, trying to get outside. And Big Daddy Hairston back in the game after being shaken up, drags him down. Hairston, one of the leaders on this team. He had his best year in 1987. Very durable. He's missed only one game in his career. And it'll be 3rd down and 10 now. So a passing down for Ken O'Brien.
And the pass rushing defense has gone into the football game. You're going to see another deep back, and you'll see a good pass rusher in there, Michael Dean.
Michael Dean Perry, number 92, the younger brother of the refrigerator, William Perry, who plays for the Chicago Bears from the shotgun. O'Brien going deep, and it's incomplete. Good coverage downfield by the Browns. Hanford Dixon and Felix Wright back in coverage. And it'll bring up 4th down. O'Brien has completed 3 of 6 passes so far for 29 yards. And the 2 punters, Al, will be a key today. We saw Lee Johnson get off a poor punt, 15-yarder on his first kick, and now it's Joe Prokop's turn. He did not have a good day in the wind and rain last week in Foxborough.
That's right. Lee Johnson had a super day. In fact, he well could have won the football game against Kansas City the way he punted for the Cleveland Browns last week.
The Jets leading 3-0 with 6:52 remaining in the first quarter. Prokop, who played in the replacement games last year for San Diego, trying for placement. High kick. Gerald McNeil got flattened, and there's a penalty marker down. And McNeil is really upset. He goes after the field judge. Terry Williams hit him. Lou Faolo's trying to contain Williams. I didn't see McNeil signal for a fair catch, did you?
No, I didn't, but Terry must have remembered what happened last week against the New England Patriots. You'll recall on one play, it looked like he almost thought the man getting the kick had signaled for a fair catch. He did not, and he stepped aside and let him go by, and the man had a big gainer.
But you've got to give the return man a chance to catch the ball.
We have interference with the opportunity to make a catch. Number 33 of the kicking team. Cleveland's ball, first down.
That's what the infraction is. He interfered with the receiving man, Terry Williams. The rookie from Bethune-Cookman is the man who hit McNeil. So the Browns will have a first down at the 24-yard line with the Jets leading 3-0. Gary Danielson making his 60th NFL start. Played in the World Football League with the New York Stars, the Charlotte Hornets, the Chicago Wind, and had 8 years with the Detroit Lions. He was their 3rd all-time leading passer behind Bobby Lane and Greg Landry. So he's had some experience. Kevin Mack straight ahead. Met by Troy Benson, number 54.
Those 2 inside linebackers are closing very well. Kyle Clifton, 59. Troy Benson, number 54. Both are moving into that line of scrimmage. Now anticipating that the Cleveland Browns are going to run. Strategy wouldn't be too bad to see a quick look-in slant pattern over the middle.
Second down and 8 at the 26-yard line. The Jets leading 3-0. Clarence Weathers is in at wide receiver, split out to the near side. Langhorne is on the far side. Biner and Mack are the running backs. Danielson downfield for Langhorne, wide open. He's got a first down at midfield. Reggie Langhorne getting behind Bobby Humphreys, who was burned twice last week by the Patriots' Irving Fryer.
Let's take a look at Langhorne. Now they look like they had him set up to go to the inside. Langhorne makes a good move, fairly good blocking. Here comes Langhorne in motion, gets by Humphrey. Humphrey must look like he was almost anticipating an inside move, but the big guy took it deep.
First down at midfield for the Cleveland Browns. The Jets leading 3-0. Reggie Langhorne in his 4th year out of Elizabeth City State. Biner splits out wide to the left. Brennan and Langhorne on the near side. Kevin Mack gets the call, trying to turn the corner. And knocked out of bounds after about a 6-yard pickup by Kevin MacArthur, number 57. There was some doubt as to whether MacArthur would start today. He sprained his ankle Wednesday in practice. We expect to see Robin Cole, a 12-year veteran, play a lot for the Jets. He was picked up on waivers from the Steelers. The Redskins coming from behind to beat Pittsburgh 30-29. We'd like to welcome those of you who've been watching the Steelers-Redskins game. Mel Proctor with Aldi Rogatis in Cleveland. It's 3-0 Jets. Tim Minow is in at running back for the Browns. He's number 42. Biner. And Biner stopped at the 42-yard line by Troy Benson.
When we see these defensive teams lined up with that big man in the middle, the nose guard, the nose tackle, the defensive nose tackle, it's a good idea to keep your eye on the 2 men, the 2 linebackers, inside linebackers. They're both going to be filling, and right now Benson and, as mentioned earlier, Kyle Clifton are doing a fine job closing those holes.
Ricky Bolden checks into the game for the Cleveland Browns. It'll be 3rd down and 1 as they go to the short yardage offense. Fontenot is in. And Biner and Manoa, the two big backs, play action fake. Danielson throwing for Biner, and he's got it. That's a reception. 1st down, Cleveland.
Now here is excellent strategy. You've got a situation where it looks like short yardage, you're going to go for a run. You take your best, one of your best runners, and you take them on a fly pattern. They had set that up earlier, Mel. I had seen it going to the offside, and then they came back to the strong side with it. Excellent call, excellent, great execution.
Biner getting behind Rich Miano for the 1st down at the 22-yard line. 1st and 10 at the 22. Danielson has been hot in this 1st quarter. Mack and Biner, the running backs. Danielson has hit 4 out of 6 passes for 61 yards. He's got time underneath to Mack. Mack breaks a tackle and picks up an additional yard. Kyle Clifton put him down. Clifton, who had a big game last week against the Patriots. A gain of 1 yard on the play.
We might keep our eye on Scott Messereau. Now, Scott plays like Joe Klecko and Joe Green, and I don't mean to say that in the same breath. I'm not saying that he plays as well, but he has that offset kind of a charge that takes on both the center and the guard. That time, the linebackers were dropping. Messereau took it to the outside. It looked like a draw. A draw could have been effective, even this deep.
Langhorn and Weathers put out wide to the right. Biner is wide to the left. The tight end is Ozzie Newsome. Danielson's pass incomplete as he tried to hit Ernest Biner. James Hasty, number 40, a 3rd-round pick from Washington State, covering. Joe Walton is very high on Hasty, said he's got great temperament. Nothing bothers him. He and Eric McMillan, 2 rookies, starting in the secondary.
And he's got some blinding speed, and you need that back there.
3rd down and 9 at the 21. 3-0 Jets with 4:02 remaining in the 1st period. The Jets receiving heavily for defense, particularly in the secondary in the draft. Williams, McMillan, Hasty, and Booty, and Hasty and McMillan both start. 3rd down 9. Danielson pressured out of the pocket and sacked. Marty Lyons, the 10-year veteran from Alabama, got to him. And it was a bring up a field goal situation.
Sorry, Mel, it was a good game. Gerald Nichols is in the football game, number 77, and he and Marty Lyons both put on a pretty good move. You kind of like the aggressiveness of that defensive front.
This will be a 47-yard attempt by Matt Barr. Last week against Kansas City, kicked 2 of 19 and 38 yards. He kicked the game winner with 25 seconds left to give the Browns a 6-3 win. Lee Johnson, the punter, will hold for him. The kick is hooking badly, but makes it through. He had a hook left on it, but it made it through the uprights for a 47-yard field goal to tie it up.
We're into the 6th quarter, and neither team has scored a touchdown this year.
Welcome back to Cleveland's Municipal Stadium. Mel Proctor with Aldi Rogatis, and this kickoff is sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers, as Lee Johnson tees it up for the Browns. A 3-3 tie. Pat Leahy's 22-yard field goal gave the Jets the lead, and then Matt Barr connected from 47 yards out to tie it at 3. Neither team has scored a touchdown yet in almost five quarters. Kick. Jojo Townsell watches it, now picks it up, and he's in trouble inside the 10. He's crushed. Glenn Young down there in coverage for the Browns, and I think Townsell thought the ball was going to roll out of bounds, but it didn't. So with 3:22 remaining in the 1st quarter, the Jets and Browns are tied 3-3. Mel Proctor with Aldi Rogatis back at Cleveland Stadium. A bit of a surprise so far. The Browns overwhelming favorites coming into the game, and we're tied 3-3 as we near the end of the 1st quarter.
Well, the Jets played a great first half last week, and then a couple of bad breaks and some bad field position went against them. And once again, we're seeing what is a bad break.
Poor field position as they begin this drive from the Jet 10 after beginning the previous 2 at the 48 and 36-yard line. O'Brien gives to Freeman McNeil. McNeil out to the 13-yard line where he's brought down by 78 Carl Hairston and 79 Bob Golick, the nose tackle.
Dave Grayson is a linebacker that's really come on. Let's see how he fights this off. There's where the power is, being able, but well, there's a little bit of holding there. Almost a great play by Dave Grayson. He's a strong man. His dad, who was such an outstanding player for both the Chiefs and the Oakland Raiders, must be very proud.
Marty Schottenheimer said he's the fastest linebacker he's ever coached or played with. His dad, a great all-pro defensive back for the Raiders and the Chiefs. O'Brien going deep downfield, and it's caught by Wesley Walker. Great reception by Walker for a first down. Knocked out of bounds by Felix Wright, a gain of 48 yards.
And here's where speed is the all-telling important thing in a wide receiver. Now you're going to see some incidental bumping. That is not offensive or defensive interference. A great play, a great catch, and when you beat Frank Minifield, you've beaten one of the best.
Minifield, a starter in the Pro Bowl, a 48-yard gain. It'll be first down at the 37-yard line. O'Brien has completed 4 of 7 passes for 77 yards. Remember last week against New England, he completed only 1 pass to a wide receiver and completed only 1 pass longer than 12 yards in the game. McNeil, nowhere to go, and he's dragged down from behind by Mike Johnson, 59.
Once again, I kind of disagree with that play selection, but then again, I'm not down on the field. I disagree because it seemed like the obvious. You make a long gainer, you come back with a running play. It was almost a well-designed play. However, it wouldn't have been a bad idea. You hit him deep once, hit him deep again.
It'll be second down 10 at the 37, a minute 20 remaining in the first quarter. 3-3 tie. Altoon to the near side, Walker to the far side. This is Johnny Hector. Hector breaks loose. He's got a first down inside the 20 as Clay Matthews brings him down. A gain of 17 for Hector.
Now there's a play that the play before we praised Dave Grayson. There was a time when he got caught to the inside. Alexander again doing an outstanding job at that pulling guard position. Grayson took himself out of the play and opened a big big gainer rather, I'm sorry.
Broncos jumping out to a 10-0 lead over San Diego. 3-3 tie here in Cleveland, but the Jets are on the move with a first down at the Cleveland 20. Altoon in motion. McNeil back to the line of scrimmage, and that's about it. David Grayson, number 56, made the stop. Down to the final 18 seconds of the first quarter.
Joe Walton mentioned to both Mel Proctor and myself yesterday that he was going to simplify the offensive blocking. It seems to be very effective. We haven't seen Cadigan miss too many, and, you know, he's going to come on and get stronger and stronger. And that offensive line, to this point, has won the first quarter.
And so that's the end of the first quarter from Cleveland Stadium with the score, the Cleveland Browns 3 and the New York Jets 3. A 3-3 tie here in Cleveland. A bit of a surprise. Mel Proctor with Aldi Rogatis. It was roughly 20 years ago that you made the bold prediction that Joe Namath and the Jets would upset the Colts in Super Bowl III. What about it today? You going to go out on a limb again?
Well, I'm not going to go out on a limb. It's a little optimistic to think that they're going to beat the Cleveland Browns, but right now they're on the 20-yard line and they're pushing for a score.
So we began the second quarter with the Jets threatening. Second down, play action fake by O'Brien, and completes it to tight end Mickey Schuler, and he's driven out of bounds by Henford Dixon, number 29. Schuler, who's now caught a pass in 66 consecutive games.
And how about that offensive line of the New York Jets?
Jets showing they can move the ball on the ground, and that is important as far as Joe Walton is concerned, and also striking with a couple of long pass plays. Time of possession in the Jets' favor. And Joe Walton felt that was the key to control the football. Third down 2 at the 12-yard line. Wesley Walker is wide to the right. Al Toon to the left. Schuler in motion. O'Brien throwing for Toon. Tries to make the one-handed grab. But Hanford-Dixon back there defending for the Browns.
Excellent coverage by the Cleveland Browns, both here on the strong side and against Al Toon on the weak side. There was an outstanding job. The defensive unit looking for passes, now going into the football game. The only area, Mel, that I saw in that situation that had an opportunity was right over the middle and over the middle short.
So Pat Leahy is in to try a 29-yard field goal with Pat Ryan holding. Leahy, who had 18 to 22 field goal attempts a year ago, trying to give the Jets the lead. It's a fake. Pat Ryan tosses it to Leahy, and he runs it in for a touchdown. Can you believe that? But there's a penalty marker down. Well, there was that big play or trick play we were thinking that Joe Walton might have in mind.
Well, you've got to be so impressed. I mean, you know, the unexpected is the beauty of the game.
Holding.
One thing that's not unexpected is a flag for holding.
So they'll bring it back, holding against the Jets. But you have to like the imaginative mind of Walton on that play.
91 offense. Fourth down.
Sam Cranston.
Paul Fraze guilty of holding, a rookie from Syracuse, a 6th-round pick, and he'll hide his face when they show the films of this particular play, won't he?
Oh, will he ever? They worked on that particular play maybe 50 times, I would guess. It went so well, and then one man pull off a holding.
So now the field goal attempt, we assume, from the 19. This will be a 39-yard attempt. 29-yard attempt, beg your pardon. And Leahy converts it. So the Jets didn't get the touchdown, but they'll settle for 3 points, and they've taken the lead 6-3. So an entertaining first half. A lot of surprises so far with the Jets on top.
Today's game is brought to you by Dodge Cars and Trucks. When it's got to be right, it's got to be a Dodge. By Coors Light, there's no slowing down with a silver bullet. It's the right beer now. And by the U.S. Armed Forces, it's a great place to start.
We've seen a battle of field goal kickers so far. Pat Leahy has kicked 2 for the Jets. Matt Barr, a 47-yarder for Cleveland, and it's 6-3 New York. And Leahy, who almost scored the first touchdown of his NFL career, kicks off. That was negated by a penalty. Glenn Young will take it at the 6. Tripped up at the 22-yard line by Carl Howard, a 5-year veteran from Rutgers. Return of 17 yards by Glenn Young. Gary Danielson came out throwing in the first quarter. He's completed 5 of 8 for 62 yards. He doesn't throw the deep pass as well as Bernie Kosar, but he's an experienced quarterback who can throw the short, medium-range passes, and he's more mobile than Kosar. He can scramble a little better than Bernie.
He can do that, and you know, the longer the Jets are staying in this kind of position where they're really pushing the Cleveland Browns around a bit, the greater the confidence is going to build. So now it's becoming very important for Gary Danielson to get something going.
First down to 22. Tim Manoa is in the backfield along with Ernest Biner. Biner threw a big hole, fumbles the football. And it looks like the Jets have recovered, and they have, as Mark Gastineau pounced on the loose football. And the Jets will have great field position.
And that was almost a great play.
Look at Gastineau taunting the dog pound. In the end zone where all the ardent Brown fans are located. Hanford-Dixon, a couple of years ago, named them the Dogs. They dress up like dogs and howl and bark. And Gastineau said, "Here, put this in your kennel."
We were looking at a trap play there. Larry Williams pulled from his right side position, made a good trap block, and Biner hit behind him. It looked like a long gainer, but it didn't work out that way. Again, a very critical fumble. Another break for the New York Jets. There it is.
Of course, Biner, who fumbled 5 times during the regular season last year, and a critical fumble against Denver in the AFC Championship game. On the handoff, it's McNeil fighting his way inside the 20 to the 16-yard line. A gain of 5 as Mike Johnson made the tackle.
And Freeman made that 5 on his own. He is so quick and can change directions as rapidly as anyone in the league today.
Look at the Jets' field position today as opposed to last week. Only once have they had really terrible field possession. Starting drive from the 48 and 36 in their first 2 possessions from the 10 and the Cleveland 21 on this drive. 2nd and 6 at the 17. O'Brien going deep downfield, and it's caught for a touchdown by Johnny Hector.
That was a beautiful play. Al Toon was on that side. Johnny Hector was on that side. Mickey Schuler went in motion to that side, flooding the entire area.
There's a penalty marker down. Offensive pass interference against the Jets.
That is the 3rd touchdown that the Cleveland Browns had called back this year. They had 1 against Kansas City, which would have won the game for Kansas City, and 2 today. So penalties have helped Cleveland.
So look into the dog pound.
Offensive pass interference, number 88, 2nd down.
Pass interference called on Al Toon. It was Hector who made the reception, but Toon is guilty of the offensive interference.
Could have been a pick. You know, that old basketball pick. You go across, you knock off one of the defenders, and you free up Johnny Hector.
So as a result of the penalty, it'll be 2nd and 16 at the 27. The Jets, the most penalized team in the league the last 2 years. They were called for 7 penalties last week against New England. O'Brien on the rollout. Getting a lot of pressure. He finds McNeil, who holds on despite a vicious shot from Mike Junkin.
Now we're seeing a very ineffective pass rush. That's surprising to me. The Cleveland Browns do not look as sharp as I thought they were going to be. They're not moving off the football. They're not penetrating with their linebackers. They put now into the football game their defense against the pass.
Denver now opening up a 17-0 lead over the Chargers. 6-3 Jets here in Cleveland with 12:55 remaining in the 2nd quarter. Hector and McNeil are the running backs. O'Brien over the middle, and it's caught by Al Toon, trying to get some extra yardage, and he stretches to the 6. Felix Wright made the stop. They needed 15 yards for a 1st down. That'll do it. So it'll be 1st and goal to go.
Give this to the line of scrimmage. Despite the fact that Toon makes a good move here, 1 man going deep, Toon takes it to the inside. A great catch, but nonetheless, the offensive line gave them the time to do that. The much maligned offensive line, Mel, they've been taking an awful lot of criticism, but up to now, they've done an excellent job.
1st and goal to go at the 6-yard line. Roger Vick is in at fullback along with McNeil. Freeman McNeil looked like he lost his footing as he slipped on the dirt portion of the field. Mike Johnson made the tackle for Cleveland.
We read a great deal this week in both the Cleveland papers and in the New York papers about the need for respect. The New York Jets talking about earning and gaining respect. Well, I can tell you, they're gaining respect today.
Robin Cole, who played on 2 Super Bowl championship teams with the Steelers, said he's never played on a team that was intimidated before, and he felt the Patriots intimidated the Jets last week, and he said that has got to stop. 2nd and goal. Roger Vick stays on his feet. Good hard run by Vick down near the goal line, but stopped short by Hanford Dixon. And now Vick getting into it with one of the Browns. There was a lot of this in the New England Jets game. In fact, Cole and Steve Brogan got into it last week. A lot of taunting on the part of the Patriots, and the Jets said they're not going to stand for it anymore.
Once again, a great deal of power on that left side. Cadigan doing a good job. The pulling of Dan Alexander and the running of Roger Vick. Look at Alexander out in front. Makes a good block, driving back one of the deep people.
It'll be 3rd and goal to go at the 2-yard line. Tempers flaring. The Jets leading 6-3.
Here's a situation as we look at Kenny O'Brien. Here's a situation where you'd love to have a really mobile quarterback. It adds a new dimension. They're putting a lot of pressure on the inside.
And the New York Jets call a timeout. Third down, goal to go for the New York Jets at the Cleveland 2. The Jets leading 6-3, and Joe Walton's taken out the short yardage unit and gone with 4 wide receivers.
I mentioned before that Kenny O'Brien, if he were a runner, you couldn't ask for a better time to do it than having 4 wide receivers.
And now the Browns call a timeout. I don't think they were ready for that formation because the Jets had their short yardage team on. At the last minute, ran in 4 wide receivers, and the Browns call a timeout. Now the pennant race heating up in the American League East. In the 10th inning, the Tigers and Yankees tied 3-3. The Indians beat Boston 4-2. Yesterday, Roger Clemens shut them out on 1 hit. Milwaukee leading Seattle 5-1. And be sure to join NBC Sports for the Major League Baseball Game of the Week. Next Saturday, most of you will see 2 contending teams in the East go at it. When the Yankees meet the Red Sox, and others will see the Giants and the Astros. That's next Saturday here on NBC Sports. Joe Walton has to be pleased with the way his Jets have performed in the first half. Michael Dean Perry, number 92, is in on the front line defensively for the Browns, Yankees and the Red Sox, or the Giants and Astros next Saturday here on NBC. 10:31 remaining second quarter, 6-3 New York. O'Brien on the give. Johnny Hector. I don't think he made it in. Hector apparently stopped short of a touchdown by Clay Matthews, right almost at the goal line.
Interesting call. Interesting call. You wouldn't have thought the Jets were going to run to the inside. That time they stood number 66 Cadigan straight up, faked a pass block, broke right down and trapped to the inside, just short.
And they're going for a touchdown on 4th and 1 rather than a field goal. Marion Barber, an excellent blocker, and Roger Vick, the fullback, are both in there. Barber on the wing right. Hector and Vick are the running backs. Over the top is Hector. No indication yet. And the Browns have apparently held. The Jets are signaling for a touchdown, but the officials are not. And a goal line stand by Cleveland, stopping the Jets at the goal line. New York leading 6-3, but the Browns stiffen and take over. The question here is, Al, did Johnny Hector break the plane of the end zone with the ball?
And it's difficult to really tell at this point. A very hard hit. Dave Grayson made a great play, and then over the top, Hill came in to finish it off.
Well, the Browns take over near the goal line, and Ernest Biner tries to grind it out. The Jets piling up 161 yards in total offense in the first half, but they still have not scored a touchdown. Stopped right at the goal line by the Browns. The Raiders leading the Houston 21-7.
More than likely, the Browns will keep the football on the ground, but there's always that great temptation. You know, in the situation where you think they're going to try to jam it down your throat, to go deep with a big bomb.
The Browns have been plagued by poor field position. Their average starting point in the drives this afternoon has been from their own 20. Second down 6 at the 5. Kevin Mack out to the 8-yard line. Robin Cole, number 90, 12-year veteran from New Mexico, former Pittsburgh Steeler on the stop. There he is. He wore number 56 when he played with the Steelers. But Lance Mel wore that number for years with the Jets, and they asked Cole if he'd like to wear number 56. He said, no, out of respect for Mel, I'll take number 90. Third down 2 at the 9-yard line. Tim Manoa, number 42, had a great second half last week against the Chiefs is in the game. When Kevin Mack was hurt, he played in the second half and rushed for 70 yards and caught 4 passes. The Browns are 2 for 4 on third down conversions in the first half. Third down 2 at the 9. Biner breaks the tackle, and he's buried by the gang-tackling Jets.
You are seeing one hustling Jet defensive unit. They're gaining an awful lot of respect here this afternoon.
And again, it was Robin Cole who hit him first. The Steelers apparently let Cole go, not because he still couldn't play, he could, but because they were going with some young linebackers, and the Jets checked on him. They got good reports and signed him
Well, here's last week's hero punting out of the end zone.
Lee Johnson, the barefoot punter, low line drive kick. Taken by Kurt Sohn, giving ground. Herman Fontenot stacks him up at midfield. A 44-yard kick by Lee Johnson, and with 7:20 remaining in the second quarter, the New York Jets lead the Cleveland Browns 6-3. The New York Jets again have excellent field position, beginning this drive from midfield as backup Brown quarterback Mike Pagel looks on. Freeman McNeil wrestled down by Clay Matthews for a 5-yard loss. Matthews, the 11-year veteran from USC, 3-time Pro Bowler, taking on more responsibilities in the Browns defense this year, but he's had an outstanding career.
Man that can play linebacker and can move up to the line of scrimmage.
And we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
This is WNBC TV, New York.
Mel Proctor with Al Rogatis in Cleveland, where the Jets lead 6-3 with 6.5 remaining in the second quarter. And Ken O'Brien getting some pressure and throws it away. Of course, under a new rule or a new interpretation this year, a quarterback can throw the ball away, and it's not intentional grounding unless there is sufficient pressure. That's the issue.
That's the key word, sufficient pressure, and there wasn't any on that particular grounding.
O'Brien has completed 7 of 12 passes for 106 yards. Jets doing a good job of penalty against the Browns.
Looked like Hanford Dixon was illegally using his hands. You know, Mel, we're seeing a change really in this defensive unit. All of a sudden now I'm seeing gaming taking place on the part of what looked like a very straightforward team. Golick is moving out of the middle, circling to the outside. It tells you the center's doing a good job.
First down at the Cleveland 48. Johnny Hector. Hector to the 46, where Darrell Sims makes the stop. Sims, number 99, who played with the Steelers. He was a disappointment, a first-round pick. They let him go, and the Browns picked him up as part of their replacement team a year ago. Sam Clancy now comes back in, replacing Sims. Clancy, the better pass rusher. Roger Vick checks into the backfield for the Jets. It'll be second down 7. Wide to the left, Wesley Walker wide to the right. Roger Vick and Freeman McNeil are the running backs. O'Brien to McNeil. And Freeman McNeil is out of bounds at the 39. The tackle made by Hanford Dixon and Mike Junkin, number 54.
Good play on the far side. Once again, I'm looking at Mickey Schuler, and Mickey got by Clay Matthews, had a very open angle to the goal line. He was clear. It looked like if Kenny O'Brien saw him, we might have seen a quick 6 go up for the Jets.
Neither team has scored a touchdown this year. Third down 1 at the 39. Hector, he's got the first down. Johnny Hector brought down by Stephen Braggs, number 36 for the Browns. So the Jets keep the drive alive. The Raiders leading Houston 21-7. Vikings trying to bounce back from a loss a week ago to the Bills. The Eagles ahead of the Bengals in the second quarter.
Double tight end offense.
First down at the 34-yard line. Mickey Schuler in motion. O'Brien deep, and it's incomplete. Al Toon thought he might have been interfered with. Stephen Braggs was in coverage for the Browns. Minifield was shaken up earlier. He injured his groin last week against Kansas City, has re-injured himself and has come out. Braggs now in coverage, and O'Brien might be picking on him a little bit here.
Well, he's picking on him a little, but he's also Braggs is getting help from the inside from the free safety, which tells you if you're going to double tune, you've got to look for someone else. Again, I concentrate on the middle because it seems to be the area that might be vulnerable.
Second down 10 at the 34. Walker in motion. O'Brien's pass complete to Mickey Schuler for first down, but there's a penalty marker down as Brian Washington makes the stop. Schuler, the 11-year veteran from Penn State.
There's the classic situation. Tight end going against the strong safety man. And in that play again, the Pro Bowler, Mickey Schuler, did a fine job. It must be offensive interference.
It is offensive interference against the Jets.
Pass interference. Number 82, offense. Second down.
Schuler apparently pushed off. The penalties have hurt the Jets. Penalty cost him a touchdown and a fake field goal and toss to Pat Leahy, who took it into the end zone. That was called back. And this penalty will make it 2nd and 20 at the Cleveland 44 with 4:08 remaining in the first half. It's 6-3 New York. Schuler, the motion man. A reverse to Walker, but the Browns smell it out. Walker breaks the tackle. He did a lot of that himself down to the 31-yard line where Clay Matthews made the stop.
And Clay made it on pursuit. Clay smelled the reverse coming. He was across the line of scrimmage. He hesitated. If he did not hesitate, it could have been a long loss. Let's watch it again. Here's the reverse handoff. There's Clay Matthews. He hesitated just long enough to give the speed of Wesley Walker a chance to operate, and here he comes again. Pretty good speed on Clay Matthews' part.
Let's see. Gain of 13 yards. It'll be 3rd down and 8 at the 32. Shotgun formation. Kurt Sohn is in the game at wide receiver for the Jets, and the pass is deflected, and it's incomplete. And Sam Clancy got a hand on it at the line of scrimmage. The ex-basketball star from Pitt at 6'7", 275. That'll bring up 4th down. 3:04 remaining in the second quarter. The Jets leading 6-3. And a field goal attempt by Leahy from the 39. So this will be a 49-yard attempt for Leahy.
Both teams still looking for their first touchdown in 1988.
Leahy's kick on the way, and it's running out of gas. No good. So with 2 minutes, 57 seconds remaining in the second quarter, the Jets failed to score, but lead Cleveland 6-3. Mel Proctor with Al Rogatis back in Cleveland. Pat Leahy missing his first field goal attempt of the year, and the Jets lead 6-3, but they've missed several scoring opportunities. On one occasion, they were stopped at the 1. On another, a penalty negated a fake field goal and run by Pat Leahy. They eventually got a field goal out of that drive, and now Leahy misses a field goal. Leahy, the Jets' all-time leading scorer.
Gary Ladd, in the last 2 situations where he had a 2-minute drill in effect, both at the end of the first half and the end of the game last week, was very effective. He's got that very situation now.
First down for the Browns at the 32-yard line. The Browns have gone from the youngest starting quarterback, 24-year-old Bernie Kosar, to the oldest, 37-year-old Gary Danielson. Danielson hits Ozzie Newsome for a first down at the 48-yard line. A gain of 16. The Wizard of Oz.
And that keeps his streak going.
He's caught a pass in 129 consecutive games.
Pretty clever pass pattern. Not only was Ozzie Newsome going deep and then taking it back, but the wide receivers were taking it deep and then retreating on it.
Newsome needed only 2 passes to move past Harold Jackson into the 8th spot on the all-time receiving list. So he's got the reception to extend the streak to 129 and now going for more. Danielson showing his mobility and scrambles to the 46-yard line.
You think Marty was a little worried on that one, watching your quarterback run? In fact, Brian Brennan was the man he was looking at, and he might be that reserve quarterback.
He'd be the emergency quarterback in the event of injuries to Danielson and his backup, Mike Pagel. Gary Danielson in his 11th year from Purdue, but Joe Walton's Jets have a 6-3 lead as we hit the... With 2 minutes remaining in the first half here in Cleveland, the Jets have a 6-3 lead over the Browns. It's 2nd down and 5 for Cleveland. At the Jet 47-yard line, Derek Tunnell has replaced Isaac Newsom, the tight end for Cleveland. Gary Danielson downfield for Reggie Langhorne, broken up by Bobby Humphrey.
Once again, we're seeing the effect of that deep perimeter and the way they're moving to these wide receivers. Remember, with Webster Slaughter out of the football game, Reggie Langhorne has to pick up a great deal of the load. So it looks like the shorter patterns, which is rather obvious, but the shorter patterns have to be considered. Number 89 has just gotten in McNeil and Brennan. They both could be threats in those short patterns.
Got 4 wide receivers in the game. McNeil and Langhorne split out to the right side. Clarence Weathers and Brian Brennan to the near side. 3rd down 5. Danielson's completed 6 of 10 passes in the first half. A leaping grab by Clarence Weathers for a 1st down. At the 34, a gain of 15 yards.
The thing that surprised me, the Jets, having seen the 4 wide receivers and only 1 deep back, I thought for sure we'd see a blitz, but no blitz was forthcoming.
A minute and a half remaining in the first half. The Browns in their 2-minute drill. Danielson very effective twice last week, leading the Browns to field goals. Weathers again. Out of bounds, stopping the clock at the 22-yard line. 1:19 remaining.
Now here's a situation where they've got the cornerbacks thinking about that quick down and out. Hasty's playing it rather close on this side. They've got to always be leery of now the wide receiver faking that move to the outside and going for the goal post.
1st down at the 22-yard line. Danielson now 8 of 12 for 103 yards. Gary made 1 start in the replacement game last year against the Bengals and threw for 4 touchdowns, but he has not played regularly since 1985. Brian Brennan in motion. A give to Ernest Miner. And the ball is loose. Recovered by the Browns. Looks like Paul Farron, the left tackle, recovered it for Cleveland. Tackle was made by Rich Miano.
That's the kind of play where fans might boo, might not understand the logic of coming with the run. But again, Marty Schottenheimer was thinking of the element of surprise, and it didn't really surprise many people. But Ernest Biner could really move.
Number 88 offense. 1st down.
Holding against Reggie Langhorne of the Browns. 1:10 remaining in the 2nd quarter. It's 6-3 New York. Neither team has scored a touchdown this year.
Identical score at halftime last week, 6-3.
So it'll be 1st and 20 at the Jet 30.
1st down and 20 for the Browns at the Jet 32.
4 wide receivers in the game for the Browns. Biner in the backfield. He's an excellent receiver. He led the team with 52 receptions a year ago. Pressure. Bobby Humphrey on a blitz, and down goes Danielson near the 40.
Kind of like what Bud Carson did then. He was blitzing with his safety man, but he took his nose guard, Nichols, who is ordinarily one of his better pass rushers, and he dropped off.
And the Browns will call a timeout with 1:05 remaining in the half. It's 6-3 New York.
Can you?
Mel Proctor with Al D. Rogatis back in Cleveland. The Jets ahead 6-3, and a cornerback blitz by Bobby Humphrey, dumping Gary Danielson at the 40.
But watching number 77, now he drops Gerald Nichols, and he was going to cover any quick pass over the middle. Very interesting.
So it's 2nd down at the 40. The Browns have 1 timeout left. pressure again. Humphrey buries him again. Twice Bobby Humphrey pins Danielson to the turf here at Cleveland Stadium.
Once again, it's a matter of speed, and speed can beat most things. Bobby Humphrey just blew around to the outside. It looked like he just went around Cody Rising, which, you know, Cody's one of the best, but he doesn't have the kind of speed that a Bobby Humphrey has.
Bobby Humphrey, a converted wide receiver who has 4.35 speed in the 40. He was burned by Irving Fryer for a couple of touchdowns last week, but he's played well in the first half today, and Danielson really took a lick.
You know, Mel, one of the things that these new defenses of today has changed is the use of the draw. It's so difficult to draw against a three-man front with 8 people in deep secondary. It's also very difficult to use a screen pass. Now, here's a situation where you got third and long yardage that you're looking only for field goal position. You're trying to play a short football field. They're on the 50. If they can get it down to about the 30, they get a shot at the field goal.
Matt Barr, very effective from 40 yards in. It's 3rd and 37 at midfield with a minute left. The Browns are out of timeouts. The Jets have 2 remaining. Good protection for Danielson. The pass is incomplete as he tried to hit Brian Brennan. Eric McMillan defending for the Jets, son of former Cardinal offensive lineman Ernie McMillan, who's now an assistant coach for the Phoenix Cardinals. That'll bring up 4th down. The punter, Lee Johnson, comes on. Well, the Jets are going to have one more shot at it, Al, with somewhere around 40 seconds left and a couple of timeouts remaining.
And again, the barefooted guy hasn't been kicking all that well. Last week outstanding, as we said earlier, and let's see if he gives the Jets any kind of field position.
He averaged almost 44 yards a kick last week against Kansas City and had 5 of them down inside the 20. Gets off a good kick.
Tough to handle.
They got a penalty marker down. A 49-yard kick by Lee Johnson. But let's see what the flag is about. Looks like it may be either roughing the kicker or running into the kicker. Bonzi Elam is the man who ran into Johnson. Number 52. The rookie from Tennessee
Running into
State.
the kicker. Number 52 on the defense. The penalty is declined. It's first down.
Well, the penalty is declined as Ken O'Brien and Joe Walton get ready with 43 seconds remaining in the first half. The Jets ahead 6-3 next week. Buffalo is at New England. Houston at the Jets. Another tough game for Joe Walton's team. Denver and Kansas City renewing their heated rivalry. The Bengals facing the Steelers in Pittsburgh, coming off a win over the a tough game today against the Redskins. And 4 o'clock game, Seattle and San Diego.
Houston, similar to the Cleveland Browns, have also, as we all know, lost an outstanding quarterback, Wally Moon.
Warren Moon, the quarterback. Wally was the old baseball player of the Dodgers. He hit those moon shots.
Yeah.
And down goes O'Brien, sacked by David Grayson. O'Brien appears to be all right. He was sacked 50 times last year. In the last couple of seasons, he spent more time looking at the sky than Dr. Carl Sagan.
Speed does it again. He knows how to hit. Pretty good blocking. Now, you know, here comes a linebacker on a delay.
2nd down, 15. At the 15. McNeil being chased by Sam Clancy, and finally Clay Matthews rides him down. So the Jets will just run out the first half. An interesting first half. Not much scoring, but a lot of action. Jets had several scoring opportunities that didn't result in touchdowns or field goals, but they have the lead, and Joe Walton has to be encouraged as Marty Schottenheimer leads the field with the Jets leading Cleveland 6-3. Mel Proctor with Al Rogatis back at Cleveland Stadium. The New York Jets leading the Browns 6-3 the last time these teams met on this field in January of 1987. A memorable game that lasted 4 hours and 5 minutes, the third longest game in NFL history, and the Browns won in double overtime 23-20, and both teams harbor memories of that exciting game.
Just a couple of comments. In the first half, the Jets had no turnovers. They held the Browns to 26 yards rushing. Terrific. Danielson was sacked 3 times. A big surprise for 27 yards.
The Browns winning their season opener last week against Kansas City. It marked the first time they'd won a season opener since 1982. They had won 5 in a row, and they trailed at halftime this afternoon as Lee Johnson tees it up for the Cleveland Browns. Back deep for the Jets, JoJo Townsell and Bobby Humphrey. Humphrey, who was second in the AFC in kickoff returns in 1986. And this kickoff is sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. JoJo Townsell, 2 yards deep, will bring it out. And Townsell is brought down near the 20-yard line. Tackle made by Will Hill of Cleveland, number 35. Browns, roughly 9.5-point favorites coming into the game, but the Jets had more than held their own. You see the stats in the Jets' favor. They've outrushed the Browns, which is very surprising. They've outpassed them, 182 total yards against the league's #1 defense.
Time of possession also 7 more minutes.
Freeman McNeil and Roger Vick in the backfield with Ken O'Brien. O'Brien will throw on first down, swings it out to the fullback Vick, cuts back off a block, and he's to the 25-yard line where Brian Washington, number 48, makes the stop. Roger Vick, first-round pick a year ago out of Texas A&M. Tough runner, straight-up runner, and also has pretty good hands, can catch the ball coming out of the backfield. All 3 of these backs, McNeil, Hector, and Vick, can catch the ball.
Pretty good effort also on the part of Jim Sweeney. There he was playing center, nobody over him. He came to the outside and made a block that got a few extra yards.
You have to give this offensive line some credit. They were much maligned in the loss to New England last week, and they've been much improved today against Cleveland. Roger Vick down the left side, wrestled down by 59, Mike Johnson. Johnson, a veteran of the USFL, played a couple of years with the Philadelphia Baltimore Stars. Played on a great college team at Virginia Tech. Teamed up with Bruce Smith of the Bills and Jesse Penn of the Cowboys and Tony Page, who used to play for the Jets. They were all on that team.
It's been interesting to hear Marty Schottenheimer at halftime. He must have had a few thoughts for his football team. They're not playing like the team so many people have picked to go to the Super Bowl.
Third down 6 at the 24. Wesley Walker split to the near side, picked up by Stephen Braggs, who's starting in the second half in place of the injured Frank Minifield. Then they go after Braggs with Minifield out of the game. From the shotgun. Complete to tight end Mickey Schuler, and he's got a first down at the 44. David Grayson on the stop for the Browns.
And there again, it's the pocket. It's the time that Kenny O'Brien gets. Kenny O'Brien can complete it, and he hit the Pro Bowler Mickey Schuler.
Gain of 19 yards, a first down at the 43-yard line. 6-3 New York. Early in the third quarter, O'Brien, who has been criticized for holding the ball too long and taking too many sacks. He was sacked 50 times last year, and a couple of years ago was sacked 62 times to lead the league. Kurt Sohn is in motion. This is Freeman McNeil. Nothing doing, and he'll lose a couple of yards, and there's a penalty marker downfield as Kurt Sohn, the Jets wide receiver, mixes it up with Hanford Dixon. Tom Dooley, our referee. Face mask against Dixon of the Browns.
Personal foul, 15-yard, grabbing the face mask, number 29 defense, first down.
The Browns are making the mistakes, Mel. They're making some very big mistakes. Here they are, the Jets once again in excellent field position.
That's been the story of the game for the Jets, getting good field position. The Jets, on an average, have begun their drives from their own 45, which is not good field position. It's great field position. First down at the 42 of Cleveland. O'Brien is hit. And is it a fumble or is it an incomplete pass? This will, they're going to rule a fumble initially and a recovery by the Browns, but O'Brien is arguing that his arm was moving forward, that he was in the act of passing, and I'm sure they'll review this one.
Clay Matthews, once again, he's the man we were talking about earlier. He can do it at the line of scrimmage. He can do it as a linebacker. He can and knows how to rush the passer.
Well, the Browns have recovered.
Here comes Clay Matthews to the outside. The pocket is collapsing. One of the few times we saw that this afternoon.
It looked like a fumble. It appeared the ball slipped out of his hand before the forward motion of the pass. But they are taking a look at it. Ralph Moorcroft, the replay official, reviewing the play.
This is a very big play, obviously.
I thought it was a fumble. What did you think?
Well, I thought it was a fumble also. It looked like a clear fumble.
Yeah, he's lost the ball.
Yeah, it's easier for us, obviously, to see that.
Joe Walton hoping that they rule an incomplete pass, but I wouldn't bet on it. Two coaches who began their collegiate careers at the same school, the University of Pittsburgh. Marty Schottenheimer was a linebacker, Joe Walton a tight end linebacker.
Let's take another look at this now. He's got his arm back, and he just loses the football.
Tom Dooley still conferring with the officials. As we said, they're reviewing the play upstairs.
After further review by the replay official, the play will stand as called. First down.
So it's a fumble, and the Browns will take over. The best field position for Cleveland as they begin this drive from their own 45. Their average starting point on the drives today has been from their own 22, which is terrible field position. First down to 45, 6-3 New York. Gary Danielson to Ernest Biner. Biner is brought down by 54, Troy Benson.
You've got to figure that the left linebacker obviously made a mistake. He should be taking the man out of the backfield. No one was close to him.
Chip Lohmiller kicked a field goal to give the Redskins a victory today. Some other finals, the Bears winning by 4 over the Colts. The Saints over the Falcons. At the half, the Raiders and Oilers in a tight one, 28-21. Denver leading San Diego 24-3, and Seattle winning big against the Chiefs. Second down 3 at the 48 of New York. Complete to Ozzie Newsome, and he's got a first down. Knocked out of bounds by Robin Cole. Newsome, who had the best game of his career against the Jets in 1984 when he had 14 catches for 191 yards. That's the only game in his career in which he didn't start.
Well, the Browns are showing you in the kind of pass patterns that they're throwing, and Ozzie makes another fine catch. He's wide open. The kind of respect they have for the Jets. Those two outstanding runners, Mack and Biner, have not been able to move that football with any effectiveness against these Jets.
And with that reception, Ozzie Newsome has now moved past Harold Jackson into the number 8 spot on the all-time receiving list. First down, Cleveland at the New York 38. The Jets leading 6-3. Danielson going deep for Brian Brennan. And it's broken up, double coverage, and James Hasty knocked it down.
We're going to get a good look at James Hasty. He has the speed to do the job. He covers well right here. Actually, Cleveland had the Jets in a blitzing situation, but they still have a double coverage, and Hasty will go up and make a very effective play with help from the inside against Brian Brennan.
The Browns miss Webster Slaughter, their deep threat, who has 4.4 speed. He's out with a pulled hamstring. Brennan is more of a possession-type receiver. He runs about a 4.65 40.
They're showing so much respect. You keep thinking that Ozzie Newsome should continue to have an outstanding afternoon. Somebody better be putting his nose on Ozzie.
Lawrence Weathers is in the game at wide receiver for the Browns. Danielson completes the pass to Reggie Langhorne for a first down at the 28. Bobby Humphrey on the stop for the Jets.
Again, the Cleveland Browns are forced to pass. I was watching Ozzie Newsome on the far side. Then he was covered deep by Robin Cole. That would have been a bit of a mismatch had Gary Danielson seen him.
Well, it's a first down for the Browns at the 27-yard line. Gary Danielson has completed 11 of 17 passes for 131 yards. He was traded to the Browns in 1985 for a third-round pick. Over the middle for Brennan, and it's incomplete. Almost picked off by Eric McMillan. Danielson under a lot of pressure that time from nose tackle Scott Mercereau.
Pretty good hit. Best pressure we've seen, really, from Scott Mercereau. Generally, as we said earlier, Gerald Nichols is coming in there. That helmet is right on the numbers.
Danielson said kiddingly that he'll assume the controls until it snows, and then he'll give the job back to Bernie Kosar. Kosar out of action for 4 to 8 weeks after suffering strained ligaments in his right elbow. He was sacked last week by Kansas City safety Lloyd Burris.
There it is.
Some miscommunication there. Danielson goes down. There was no one in the area. Gerald McNeil was the closest receiver.
Alex Gordon was blitzing from the left side. Again, here's another hit. Gary Danielson is having a tough afternoon. This is the best pressure that I'm sure Joe Walton has seen so far in this very, very early football season. Good pressure by the Jets.
And Joe Walton's got to be pleased at the ability of his defensive line and linebackers to put pressure on Danielson, because they're working against one of the best offensive lines in the game, and a very big offensive line.
Yep, and you heard yesterday Kosar telling us that it's a concern going against his Jet defense.
Third down 10. Danielson to Langhorne. And he appears to be short of a first down as Bobby Humphrey, who's had an outstanding game, wrestles him down. Langhorne with 4 receptions for 49 yards. He played at Elizabeth City State, the same school that produced Johnny Walton, the former Eagle quarterback, and Jethro Pugh, a great tackle with the Cowboys. And the Browns are going to go for it on 4th and 1.
Once again, a bit of a surprise, Mel. The running game of this powerful Cleveland Brown team has really been stopped, and they've counted on the pass, but look for one of those big guys right now. Big surprise.
Bolden is in at tight end. Miner in motion. And a mix-up. Like someone moved early.
May have moved. Did he lose the ball?
The Jets think they've recovered. And they have. So Danielson and the center, Greg Rakosi, unable to get together on the snap, and a resulting fumble recovered by the Jets.
Is brought to you by Oldsmobile. Test drive a new Oldsmobile soon at your nearest Oldsmobile dealer. By Goodyear Certified Auto Service. Nobody fits you like Goodyear. And by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler.
Mel Proctor with Al Rogatis back at Cleveland Stadium with 9:16 remaining in the third quarter. The New York Jets lead 6-3. They'll begin this drive from their 18 following a fumble recovery. William McNeil and Roger Vick are the running backs. Wesley Walker in motion. And it's McNeil straight ahead for about 2 yards.
Let's take another look at that last play. Does he move out too soon? Was it a mix-up? He looks like he had the ball. He drops it immediately, tries to go for it, but obviously the Jets got there first.
On the sidelines, Greg Rogatis, the center. Rogatis replacing Mike Babb, who was traded to the New England Patriots. 2nd and 7 at the 21. O'Brien's pass is complete to Billy Griggs. Mike Junkin on the stop for the Browns, and let's pause 5 seconds for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
This is WNBC-TV, New York.
Griggs' reception gives the Jets a first down at the New York 32, 8:15 remaining, third quarter, 6-3 New York. Denver leading San Diego. Seattle opening up a big lead over Kansas City, 31-3. O'Brien downfield, and Al Toon was well covered by Hanford Dixon. Dixon and Frank Minifield probably the best one-on-one covermen in the game.
And it was a little bit of a surprise that you go after Hanford Dixon when on this side you have a replacement for Frank Minifield. Kurt Zone was here, but I guess when you have Al Toon over there, Mel, you better look at him.
Kurt Zone leaves the game. 2nd down 10 at the 32-yard line. Toon and Walker are the wide receivers.
Now you got Walker on Bragg. This could be interesting.
On the near side, that matchup. Brown showing blitz. McNeil wrestled down by Mike Junkin, the first-round pick from a year ago, who's moved back to inside linebacker, and he's much more comfortable at that spot.
Such a tough play. It used to be a magnificent play to run in that particular situation. The delayed draw, but with so many linebackers and only 3 men at the line of scrimmage, it's very difficult to block it.
McNeil having a difficult day, 10 carries for 21 yards. On 3rd and 7, Johnny Hector checks into the game. Al Toon is in motion. O'Brien's pass underthrown, and it's incomplete. Incomplete pass as Al Toon tried to come back and get it, but once again it was Hanford Dixon defending for the Browns.
Hanford Dixon is limping off here.
They've already lost Frank Minifield. They could ill afford to lose Dixon, their second All-Pro cornerback.
Marty Schottenheimer thought it was carnage last week, and he's seeing a little bit of the same this week.
And the fans began to chant "Cube, Cube," as in the ice cube. Gerald McNeil, who is back deep, awaiting Joe Prokop's punt. Prokop's first kick for only 27 yards. Got a strong leg, but he's been erratic so far this year.
Also, Mel, a play that can really change the momentum of a football game both ways.
McNeil at the 26. Giving ground, looking for blocking. Penalty marker down, and McNeil is pulled down at the 26 by Mike Zordich. 38-yard punt by Joe Prokop.
Good hang time.
Seven minutes remaining in the third quarter. The Jets leading 6-3. Holding against Cleveland.
Cleveland once again back to bad field position.
But like illegal use of hands in the back. Number 42 on the receiving team. It's first down.
An illegal block against Tim Manoa. And we've got a timeout with the Jets leading 6-3 with 7 minutes left in the third quarter. Our NFL headliners today, the Redskins' Doug Williams, 52 passes, 30 completions for over 400 yards. And the Redskins come from behind win. Tampa Bay winning on a field goal to snap a 9-game losing streak. And Joe Montana with a 75-yard bomb to Jerry Rice to give the Giants, hand the Giants a loss. San Francisco winning that game 20-17. Kevin Mack on the carry for the Cleveland Browns. 6:53 left, third quarter. It's 6-3 Jets. Both teams still looking for their first touchdown.
And really, the Cleveland Browns looking nothing like the team that really I expected. I thought this team with that offensive line and with those running backs would be very effective. Dixon limping on the sideline. Boy, you lose 2 of them, you're going to be hurt.
And for
I call
Dixon,
them the Minifield-Dixon line.
both of them shaken up. Minifield went down in the first half. Dixon has been injured in the second half. Second down 11 at the 15-yard line. 4 wide receivers. Kevin Mack is in the backfield. Danielson complete to Clarence Weathers. James Hasty chasing him out of bounds. A gain of 15. That should be good enough for a first down. Marty Schottenheimer likes to tell his team that the most successful team in NFL history, the 72 Dolphins, who were 16-0, win most of the year with a backup quarterback, Earl Morrall, who replaced the injured Bob Greasy. So he says he is not as concerned as some about the absence of Bernie Kosar.
Well, Zonka, Kick, and Mercury Morris didn't hurt either.
First down at the 30. The give to Mack. Brought down by Mark Gastineau. Marty Lyons also in on the tackle.
Plays are getting, the offensive running attack is getting to the line of scrimmage very, very slowly. It's not exploding off that ball. The offensive line definitely not taking charge. I'd hate to be picking the player of the game, Mel. I think that might be one of our responsibilities. At this point, I'd give it to the offensive line and the defensive front.
Mack
of the Jets, by the way.
Mack with 8 carries for 27 yards. It's second down and 8. Danielson throws downfield, and it's incomplete. Mentioned Earl Morrall leading the 72 Dolphins to an undefeated season. He, of course, one of the great backup quarterbacks, along with Zeke Bretkowski, who's a quarterback coach for the Jets. Don Strock, great backup for many years in Miami. Does it take a special kind of temperament to be a good backup quarterback?
Oh, I think so. Some of the names you mentioned were excellent quarterbacks in their own right, but it does take the kind of temperament, the patience, and the preparation, which they all seem to put into it.
Third down 8 at the 32-yard line. The Jets leading 6-3. And penalty markers down as the right guard, Dan Fike, was decked, and it's procedure penalty against Cleveland. Marty Schottenheimer conferring with Clarence Weathers. Looks like Marty is sending in his plays with a wide receiver. False start against Dan Fike.
Was it Dan Fike or was it the quarterback that was moving out of there, Mel?
It'll be 3rd and 13. A passing situation for Gary Danielson. 4 wide receivers. Danielson's pass is incomplete, intended for Gerald McNeil.
And did you see the Jet front close that pocket? Once again, Alex Gordon coming up the middle, collapsing the line of scrimmage.
Penalty marker on the play.
Holding, number 44, offense penalties decline, 4th down.
Holding called on Ernest Biner. That'll bring up a 4th down. A reminder to our viewers that we'll be selecting the Budweiser most valuable player for today's game at the conclusion of the game. So Lee Johnson into punt. He's averaged 36 yards a kick today, not having nearly the game he did a week ago. And the barefoot punter booms a good one. Bearcat signaled for by JoJo Townsell. But the Jets have recovered.
We were commenting earlier, the way that Lee Johnson kicks that football, it doesn't turn over. In other words, the nose doesn't go down.
The Browns team physician, Dr. John Bergfeld, examining Gary Danielson. It appears that he has injured his left leg. You see Bernie Kosar there wearing a splint on his right arm, and Mike Pagel, who didn't take a snap all of last year and hasn't played since '86 in a regular season game, begins to warm up, and the man he's playing catch with is Brian Brennan, who if Pagel should go down would become the 3rd quarterback.
And we talked about Earl Morrall, but we don't remember a 3rd one that did it. Oops.
Oh, Ken O'Brien is brought down at the 39-yard line. You referring to Mr. Matty, who Had the plays written on his arm for the Colts.
Mr. Matty from Ohio, I think.
From Cleveland.
Said. Cleveland.
Yeah. Went to high school here. Tom still lives in Baltimore.
I just don't remember a third-team quarterback other than Matty doing it. Fago is going to have to go in because Danielson is really gimpy.
Denver winning big over the Chargers, but they lost Mark Jackson with a broken collarbone. Second down 5 at the 40. 4:41 left in the quarter. Roger Vick straight ahead.
Mel, they're just making the players much, much too big today. I don't know how big you can get, but with the size, the strength, and the speed of these men, the injuries are just mounting. I don't know if you could ever reverse it, but they sure have gotten big.
Bigger, faster, stronger, and Marty Schottenheimer's also very outspoken about AstroTurf. This game is being played on natural grass, but he feels a lot of the injuries as a result of the AstroTurf. He said that just speeds everything up.
Yep, it does, but they're just so big, either from weights or steroids or whatever it is. These are huge people.
Third down 2 at the 43-yard line. Johnny Hector in motion. O'Brien's pass is complete for a first down to Al Toon at the 39-yard line. He was well covered by Mark Harper, but hauls it in for a 17-yard gain.
I'll tell you, you've got to appreciate the courage of the quarterback. Clay Matthews is closing down as we look at this. Johnny Hector going downfield, turns around, makes a good spin to the inside, holds them short, then they complete it deep.
So the Jets in good shape, leading 6-3 and moving the football, and Gary Danielson is obviously finished for the day, and that'll leave it up to Mike Pagel. So these are desperate times in Cleveland. Who would have figured this game so far? The Browns were big favorites. O'Brien downfield, and it's incomplete. Intended for Wesley Walker.
Kenny O'Brien could have sat in the rocking chair on that one. He had all kinds of time.
And Gary Danielson leaves the field. O'Brien has completed 12 of 21 passes for 164 yards. 6-year veteran from Cal Davis, a Division II All-American. There were a lot of eyebrows raised when the Jets drafted him because there were a lot of great quarterbacks that year. And Joe Walton feels he's one of the best when he has time to throw. And the offensive line has done a pretty good job today. 2nd and 10 at the 39 as Walker is in motion. Play action fake. Danielson's pass complete. Mickey Schuler drags a tackle down to the 19, and he's got a first down. David Grayson holding on, separating him from his shoulder pads.
Once again, excellent protection by that offensive line. Watch this offensive line. Good blocking by Hector on the far side. Nice completion. Dave Grayson with all of his speed just couldn't make that play.
With the tandem of Walker and Toon, and with Schuler, the Jets have their primary receivers back in action, and the addition of Toon means so much to this club, doesn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. Here's
Roger Vick. Roger Vick is down to the 12-yard line where Felix Wright makes the tackle.
Sorry for stepping on you then, Mel, but Dan Alexander has really impressed me today. He led that play, and he was not going to be denied. Watch number 60. There he is, just blowing into the man, cutting, making Vick take it to the inside. Excellent job by the New York Jet offensive line. Alexander took Brian Washington out of the play, and a gain of 7 at 2nd down 3 at the 12-yard line. Alexander, a 12-year veteran from LSU. Hector picks his way down closer to the 6-yard line. Mike Junkin, 54 on the stop for the Browns. Johnny Hector, a 6-year veteran from Texas A&M, who really has a nose for the end zone. Let's take a look at it. It's coming right at you. How would you like to be stopping Johnny Hector? Look at that offensive line. Good blocking. They're taking them apart. They're taking them apart now. The Jets sensing they can really win this game. Hector with 11 rushing touchdowns last year to lead the AFC. 1st and goal to go from the 6-yard line. McNeil and Vick are the running backs. McNeil. And he's knocked out of bounds at the 4-yard line by Stephen Braggs and Brian Washington. Clay Matthews forced that play wide to the outside. Again, it looked like they were going to hit up the middle. It looked like the Jets front was able to take that middle, but they took it to the outside. Good surge here.
So it'll be second down, goal to go at the 4-yard line. Walker splits out wide to the left. Toon is wide to the right. Now Hector also splits out to the right side. McNeil is the lone setback. O'Brien into the end zone, and it's batted away. Great play by Mark Harper, because Wesley Walker was open in the corner of the end zone.
He was open, but Kenny O'Brien, I think, gave it away very early. He's looking out there almost immediately. He told the cornerback where the ball was going. Harper intercepted a pass last week, but very nicely batted that one down.
Got a penalty marker down. Here's Tom Dooley.
Second down.
Motion penalty against Wesley Walker. So it'll be second down at the 9. Second and goal from the 9-yard line. And here come the Jets. They lead 6-3 with 1:04 left in the third period. O'Brien's pass is complete to Roger Vick, but he stopped short. Stephen Braggs with a good hit on him. Braggs replacing the injured Frank Minifield at left cornerback.
Here's another ground level look. 3-man rush. Braggs makes a nice play, forces the man to the outside.
Braggs in his second year from Texas, a 6th-round pick a year ago, been primarily a special teams player, and he is imploring the dog pound, trying to get them fired up. Third down, goal to go at the 6-yard line. Al Toon in motion. O'Brien into the end zone, off the hands of Mickey Schuler, and it's incomplete, and that'll bring up 4th down.
And Mickey was wide open, absolutely wide open. He just had to lay it in there. Good job by the Cleveland Browns in stopping this. Now the field goal becomes a pretty good play.
So Pat Leahy, who's accounted for all the Jets scoring this season, comes out of the field.
And he had a touchdown call back. Remember that now.
He almost scored his first career touchdown. Was into the end zone, but it was called back on a fake field goal and pitched to Leahy in the first half. Penalty wiped that out. This will be a 23-yard attempt by Leahy out of Pat Ryan's hold. And it is good. So we have not yet seen a touchdown, but the Jets, on a third field goal of the day by Pat Leahy, now lead 9-3. With 9 seconds remaining in the third quarter, Pat Leahy will kick off for the Jets. He's booted 3 field goals today, and New York leads 9-3. Herman Fontenot 28, Glenn Young 83 are deep for the Browns. And Young will take it at the 4. 30 to the 34-yard line. Good run back by Glenn Young.
If they're the champions that some people think they are, the Cleveland Browns, although they haven't shown it today, this is the time they're going to have to show it at the start of the 4th quarter.
Time has expired, but there's a penalty marker down. Holding against the Browns. Well, a surprising game with the Jets ahead 9-3. And at the end of the third quarter, the score is the New York Jets 9 and the Cleveland Browns 3. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. The New York Jets and Cleveland Browns have both played 7 quarters this year, Al, and neither has scored a touchdown, but a touchdown might determine the outcome of this one, because if the Browns can score a touchdown, they can take the lead.
Well, if they're the team that some people think they are, right now is the time they're going to have to show it. Right now, they're going to have to be either move it straight down the field and score, or maybe the New York Jets have won this football game. I think this is the series that's going to tell the story.
But the Browns are now down to their third quarterback, Mike Pagel.
Well, even with Mike, now we might see Kevin Mack and we might see Ernest Biner running that football.
So Kozar went down last week with an elbow injury. Gary Danielson injured his leg. in the third quarter, and Mike Pagel, who has not taken a snap from center since 1986, assumes the control for the Browns. Pagel, a 7-year veteran from Arizona State, who was once a starter with the Colts. Looks like he wants to throw on first down and completes his pass to the 19. Kyle Clifton making the stop on Ernest Biner. And a gain of 7 yards on the play.
He also threw into a crowd, and that could be a little dangerous. All Jets. The stats are all Jets.
Almost 300 yards in total offense for the Jets.
Time of possession, 28 minutes, almost 1 full quarter more.
Mike Pagel was a holder late in the season. Last year, last time he played quarterback, taking the snap from center, was the final game of the '86 season. Kevin Mack straight ahead. Penalty marker down. Boy, the Browns do have some wounded players with Kozar, Danielson both out. Minifield and Dixon have both been injured today.
And again, Mel, the running attack seems to be developing very slowly. The line is moving pretty well, but the back is not hitting in there the way we had expected.
And another injured Brown, Eddie Johnson, 8-year veteran from Louisville, who was a starter last year, apparently has injured his ankle. I was unable to hear the announcement by Tom Dooley, but a penalty of some sort. And it will be 2nd down and 7 at the 15-yard line. So Mike Pagel at quarterback. He had a great career at Arizona State, where he set 7 ASU passing marks. Got a strong arm. Loops it downfield for Biner, but it's incomplete.
Excellent pressure. Once again, excellent pressure.
And now let's go to Len Berman and NFL Live. Len?
Okay, thank you, Mel Proctor. In Denver, the Broncos roll on. John Elway with his 2nd touchdown pass of the afternoon. Terrific protection, 24 yards to Vance Johnson. 31-3 Denver over San Diego. Mel and Al.
It's funny you should mention John Elway with Mike Pagel in the game now for Cleveland, because when he was in college playing for Arizona State, he threw 7 touchdowns and passed for 466 yards as Arizona State beat the Elway-led Stanford Cardinals 62-36. 3rd down, 7 at the 15. And Pagel's pass way over the head of Brian Brennan.
Once again, the pocket collapsing. Gerald Nichols putting great pressure on. 94 putting excellent pressure. Marty Lyons again doing an outstanding job.
Cincinnati leading Philadelphia 21-17. Boomer Esiason with 3 touchdown passes. Mark Jackson broke his collarbone. Denver leading the Chargers 31-3. 4th down, and Lee Johnson is in to punt. And gets off a booming kick. JoJo Townsell will take it. Good coverage downfield by the Browns as Townsell is tackled at the 39-yard line by Mark Harper. A 50-yard kick by Johnson.
Now the question is, does Joe Walton play a conservative or try to win the football game with a very low scoring effort, or does he put the football up? Again, excellent field position, Mel. The Jets offensively, we've been talking about their offensive line, and defensively, we've been talking about the pressure. Walton cannot ask for much more.
Now it looks like a personal foul against the Browns.
Personal foul. Spearing, number 42 on the kicking team. First down.
Tim Manoa called for spearing, and that upsets Marty Schottenheimer.
I kind of thought we might see Tim Manoa.
He had a big game last week when Mack got hurt. And we'll be right back. Proctor with Aldi Rogatis in Cleveland, where the New York Jets have a 9-3 lead early in the 4th quarter, and Mickey Schuler juggles and catches a pass, good for a 1st down at the 30-yard line. The Jets with a real opportunity to win this football game. The Browns are really banged up. They lost Bernie Kosar last week. Gary Danielson, we've just been informed, has suffered a broken ankle, so Cleveland's down to their 3rd quarterback.
Mike Junkin tries to stay with him. It's an excellent catch. That's a Pro Bowler for you. Mickey Schuler, super job.
First down at the 30-yard line. 12:57 remaining in the fourth quarter. Kirk Sohn is wide to the right. He comes in motion. O'Brien to Freeman McNeil. McNeil breaks the tackle, and it'll be first and goal for the Jets near the 5-yard line as Mike Junkin stopped him short of a touchdown.
But once again, Mike Junkin.
Let's go to Lynn Berman in New York, Al.
Okay, thank you, Mel. In Philadelphia, Boomer Esiason at quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals. Fakes. Throws 15 yards to James Brooks, Esiason's third touchdown of the day. The Bengals take the lead on the Eagles, 21-17. Back to Cleveland.
All right, Len, the Browns will be looking for quarterbacks tomorrow, won't they? Down to their third, Pagel. And the Jets sensing a win. Ken O'Brien with a first and goal situation at the 5-yard line. Wesley Walker in motion. This is Johnny Hector picking his way down and lunges and gets in, or did he? His knee may have hit down before he reached into the end zone. I think that's the case. He was stopped short. So it'll be second and goal at the 1-yard line. Joe Walton setting into play with tight end Billy Griggs. Well, the fans, you can just sense here in Cleveland, are stunned. They are shocked. This is the last thing they expected.
Well, I must admit, we didn't really expect this. However, the Jets deserve such great credit. What a great job they've done today. Win or lose, great job.
Second and goal at the 1-yard line. Handoff straight ahead goes Roger Vick, and he's in for the touchdown.
Little misdirection there. He hit behind the influence. The pull all went right, and Vick hits behind it. Let's take a look down the goal line. Watch the way the motion goes in one direction. The back hits, Vick hits behind it. Good move, good call. Excellent.
And a good block up front by the center, 53, Jim Sweeney.
Who's done a great job today.
And the Jets now lead 15-3. So that is the first touchdown of the year for the New York Jets. Comes at the 11:03 mark of the fourth quarter of the second game of the season. And Pat Leahy's conversion kick is perfect. So with 11 minutes and 3 seconds left in the fourth quarter, the New York Jets have opened up a 16-3 lead over the Cleveland Browns. Pat Leahy has kicked 3 field goals, and Roger Vick has scored from the 1 with the conversion by Leahy, and the Jets lead Cleveland 16-3 with just over 11 minutes left in the fourth quarter as the Browns await Leahy's kickoff. Young will take it at the 4. And Young is brought down at the 23-yard line. Field position certainly has been a key. The Jets last week, their average starting point on drives was at the 23. Look at this. In the first half, at an average beginning at their own 45. In the second half, at their own 32. Meanwhile, the Browns have been beginning their drives from deep in their own territory. And they'll begin this drive from the 23.
Tells you a lot about the special teams. We've talked offense, we've talked defense, but the Jets won the special teams race so far with 10:52 to go and 16-3 lead.
Mike Pagel at quarterback in place of the injured Gary Danielson, who suffered a broken ankle, a broken left ankle, the same ankle that he fractured in 1986. He missed all of that season. Pagel with a little screen pass to Kevin Mack. And he's wrestled down at the 25 by James Hasty, the rookie right cornerback.
Now, there's a cornerback getting in on the play, and it's kind of surprising. There was all kind of interference in front of it, but nobody took Hasty.
Raiders leading the Oilers 28-24. And how long will it take for Jay Schrader to take over at quarterback? Steve Berline was scheduled to start today. 31-10, Seattle leading Kansas City. The Rams by a touchdown over the Lions. And here in Cleveland, the Jets leading the Browns 16-3. Second down 8 for Cleveland at the 26. Mike Pagel trying to brush off the rust and the dust. Guy who hasn't started a game in almost 2 years. And he's in trouble, fumbles the football, and it's recovered by Gerald Nichols.
What a game he has played. He has just dominated that middle.
But I believe they're going to rule that Pagel was in the grasp and control of Nichols before the fumble. So it will be Cleveland's ball.
We can take a look at Gerald Nichols, number 77. He's in there in the spot that Joe Klecko played so magnificently for so many years for the Jets and now with the Colts. But Nichols has just done it all day. He's been moving across that offensive line of scrimmage magnificently.
Loss of 10 yards. It'll be 3rd down and 18 from the 16. So a passing down for Pagel. And the pass is incomplete. It should have been caught. But an incomplete pass, that'll bring up a 4th down as Gerald McNeil couldn't hold it. Wow, the Tigers and the Yankees in the 16th inning tied 3-3. The Indians beat Boston 4-2. Look at the pennant race in the American League East. The Red Sox leading Detroit by 3 games. The Yankees 4 back. Milwaukee 5 games out. JoJo Tonsell awaiting the kick by Lee Johnson. A short kick. And it takes a New York bounce. Everything's been bouncing the Jets' way this afternoon in Cleveland. But Johnson, who had a great day and was awarded a game ball a week ago, getting off only a 20-yard punt. Marty Schottenheimer said he went from almost getting cut the week before to winning a game ball, and he may be in limbo again. Next week, you'll see the Yankees and the Red Sox, the Giants and the Astros, all next Saturday here on NBC Sports, the home of the 1988 World Series.
Joe Walton might be confident, but now is the time he's going to have to start putting the ball, I think, on the ground, eat up some of that clock. He's got a pretty good lead.
Again, great field position for the Jets. They began this drive from the Cleveland 38.
Well, he's going up on top again.
O'Brien once more to Altoon. Shakes a tackle, and he's got a 1st down.
Isn't he a player, that Altoon? What moves, what speed.
Runs about a 4.6 40, which is not as fast as, say, Wesley Walker at 4.4, but he's tough, durable, very fluid.
From behind, look at the offensive line. Again, driving them to the outside, maintaining the good pocket, and Toon does a super job. Grayson was not the man responsible for that particular opening. Really, he had beaten Washington.
Altoon with 4 receptions for 53 yards. It's 1st down at the 26 for the Jets. 9:19 remaining in the 4th quarter. New York leading 16-3. Roger Vick, who scored the only touchdown of the game, down the sidelines. A good run for Vick. Close to another 1st down. Knocked out of bounds by Felix Wright. And let's go now to Len Berman and NFL Live. Len? Apparently New York was not ready. Lenny, sorry to catch you by surprise. Again, here in Cleveland, it's 16-3 in favor of the Jets. I guess I just threw a wild pitch.
I think
a wild pitch or a fastball. Check with the official score. On 1st down, O'Brien with good protection into the end zone, incomplete off the hands of Wesley Walker, but Stephen Braggs broke it up. Braggs playing well in place of the injured Frank Minifield in the 2nd half.
Let's take a look at him from ground level now. He makes a fine play. Here it comes right at you. Nice play. Kind of surprising, Mel, that Joe keeps the football up in the air. You'd think he'd start chewing up some of that clock. An incompleted pass stops the clock.
And another injured Brown, Carl Hairston, limps off the field. Second down at the 13. Kurt Schoen in motion. Inside handoff to Roger Vick. Vick inside the 10. Working hard for the extra yardage down to the 7-yard line.
How'd you like that block again by Dan Alexander, number 60?
And we're into the windup, and here's the pitch. Now let's go to Len Berman and NFL Live.
Thank you, Mel. We'll try not to strike out this time. In Philadelphia, Randall Cunningham. You want to see one of the plays of the day? Throws to Mike Quick, one-handed, spins around. He's got it. It leads to the leading Philadelphia touchdown. They're on top of Cincinnati now by 3. Back to you.
All right, Lenny, thank you. The Jets leading 16-3 and threatening to score again with 8.5 remaining in the 4th quarter. 3rd down, 4 at the 6-yard line. Handoff to Freeman McNeil. McNeil needing 4 yards for the first down. Mike Johnson made the stop for the Browns along with Bob Golick.
Obviously, Joe is going to want to get at least 3 points. That puts the game, it looks like it puts the game out of reach. Right now, the game is still within reach, but 19 points could be a big advantage.
The Cleveland Browns picked by most not only to win the AFC Central for the 4th time, but to win the Super Bowl. In fact, Sports Illustrated put them on their cover, the old SI jinx.
Yeah, it sure has been.
The Browns don't put much stock in that. Owner Art Modell said, "I'd rather be on the cover than on the obituary page." But the Browns on the verge of losing their 2nd straight game. Straight ahead goes Roger Vick, and he's in for a Jets touchdown.
Right down the goal line, Roger Vick's 2nd touchdown. Little altercation there. The Browns are a little unhappy, but look at the surge here once again, taking over the line of scrimmage, dominating the line of scrimmage. It's been Jets all day. What a super effort.
Vick's 2nd touchdown of the game makes it 22-3 New York. 11 carries, 46 yards, 2 touchdowns. A tremendous performance by the New York Jets, especially in light of their poor performance last week in New England. Pat Leahy's kick is good. So with 7 minutes, 35 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter, the Jets are sitting pretty, leading Cleveland 23-3. The Cleveland Browns must feel like they've been hit with Mike Tyson's best shot. It's 23-3 Jets with 7:35 left. A stunned crowd here at Cleveland Stadium, 74,434 on hand, but not making much more noise this afternoon. Here comes Glenn Young for the Browns. Good run back out to the 32-yard line. So the Browns will take over the last drive, 6 plays, 38 yards with Roger Vick going over from 3 yards out. His 2nd touchdown of the game, and the Jets have piled up 366 yards in total offense today against the league's best defensive team.
How does that song go, what a difference a week makes? Or is that a day?
In this case, a week would certainly apply as Roger Vick and Johnny Hector talk things over on the sidelines. The Browns down to their 3rd quarterback, Mike Pagel. Tony Kozar was hurt last week. Gary Danielson broke his ankle in the 3rd quarter today. Pagel's pass for Langhorne is incomplete. It's got to be a tough spot for Pagel, Al, who hasn't even taken a snap from center since 1986 to come in here and try to pull this one out.
Well, at this point, you know, an interception, obviously, the percentages for an interception go up dramatically because of just what you're saying. Here's a guy that never really expected 2 weeks ago to see much action, and now he might be their starting quarterback for some time to come.
2nd down 10 at the 32. Pagel, a former high school player of the year in the state of Arizona. Again, incomplete, intended for Clarence Weathers, and he's not getting much time to throw. The Jets are all over him.
Alex Gordon, number 55, puts a great rush on the outside, steps around the offensive tackle, who really never slowed the man up at all. Now, last week I was watching him make the same kind of a rush, but he wasn't using his hands as effectively. Today, he used them beautifully and made a great rush.
Gordon, a 2nd-round pick a year ago from Cincinnati. Joe Walton feels he has all-pro potential. Very quick, still learning technique as a pass rusher. Pagel in trouble again. Completes it to Clarence Weathers. The ball is knocked loose, but the Browns have recovered as Pagel fell on it.
And once again, it was Alex Gordon looping up the middle on a play, coming directly up the middle, and almost made another sack.
But they're well short of a 1st down, so Lee Johnson is in to punt. On the Browns' last 3 possessions, it's been 3 plays and a punt.
Now watch number 55 coming right up the middle. He's being held, but he forces Pagel out of the pocket, steps up.
Kurt Sohn, JoJo's Townsell awaiting the kick. Fair catch signal for by Sohn, and he takes it at the 36-yard line, so the Jets will take over with 6:29 remaining following a 27-yard punt. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Cleveland Browns and the National Football League is prohibited. This game is the property of the National Football League, New York Jets and Cleveland Browns, all rights reserved. Any questions? Phone Al Rogatis in Spring Lake, New Jersey.
Not a bad spot on the third tee.
How's it feel to be back?
Love it. Love it. A little bit surprised at what's happening here today, but I'm sure the Jet fans are pleased with it, and the Brown fans are a little dismayed.
Now the Jets will play ball control as Johnny Hector carries it out across the 40-yard line with 6:20 left, and the Jets leading by 20 points. They're going to try to control this football game and run some time off the clock.
You think the offensive line has won? I mean, there's an indication of it. It looks like the defense has been beaten.
Much maligned offensive line from a week ago. Dave Cadigan had a very difficult game against New England in his first start. He was beaten for sacks. Garen Veras went around him for a sack, and Andre Tippett, the all-pro linebacker, bull rushed him and knocked him down. The New York papers were rather hard on him, at least to Cadigan's thinking. But he's played well today. Reggie McElroy, the right tackle, the guards, Ted Banker, last-minute change, starting in place of Mike Haight. Dan Alexander has been terrific, the right guard, and so is Jim Sweeney, the center.
Absolutely.
There's Big Dave Cadigan, number 66. Why is offensive tackle, and now, particularly on the left side, such a difficult transition for a player from college to the pros?
Well, you know, generally you're going to be on the weak side. The tight end is going to be on the strong side. You're generally getting the best pass rusher. Today he's had Carl Hairston, and we haven't heard Carl's name. Last week he had Veras, and he did an excellent job against him.
Second down 3 at the 42, 6:17 remaining, fourth quarter, 23-3 New York. Hector. And the Browns will call a timeout. That will leave them with 2 remaining timeouts. Clay Matthews on the stop for Cleveland.
It's been kind of difficult, Mel, really to identify anyone. I know it's somewhat unkind on the Cleveland Browns that have really shown much today. Marty must be terribly disappointed. It could have been an overconfident football team that we were looking at yesterday at Baldwin Wallace College.
Well, they seem to be in great spirits. They were having a lot of fun getting the work done, of course. They go through a ritual on the practice before the day of the game where they run through all the plays they're going to use. And the final play is where the quarterback takes the snap, drops down on one knee. In this case, it was Danielson. In other words, they're practicing what they hope would be the end of the game. The Browns ahead and Danielson running out the clock to end the game. But that's not the way this one will end. It will end with Danielson with a broken ankle, with Mike Pagel in the game, and with the Browns suffering a loss unless they can turn this one around quickly. 33 at the 42. Al Toon has had a big game, goes in motion. O'Brien's pass caught by Johnny Hector for a first down. And the Jets will maintain possession.
We really haven't said a great deal about Kenny O'Brien, but he's shown excellent leadership today. We've been concentrating, and I hope rightfully, on that offensive line because I think they've been super. But Kenny has done a great job calling the plays that have been running the plays that have been sent in for him, and deserves a great deal of praise, as does Vic and Freeman McNeil.
And the Browns use their last time out. See O'Brien breaking into a smile and headbutting one of his offensive linemen, much like Jim McMahon does. There's Bernie Kosar. This is the first game he's missed since the 7th grade. Last week when he got hurt against Kansas City, they went in and examined him, told him he couldn't play anymore, so he put his street clothes on. And then he remembered, hey, Mike Pagel's on the inactive list. I may have to come in there if Gary Danielson get hurt, so he had to put his uniform back on. He'll be out 4 to 8 weeks. Danielson has gone down this afternoon. And things are rather desperate here in Cleveland.
We were in one of those games when I was playing, and the quarterback, after we had lost the top 2, ended up to be Tom Landry, who was our defensive right quarterback. Tom came in. I don't want to say it was desperate, Mel, but he was drawing the plays on the ground as you do in sandlot ball. The score, by the way, the Giants were 7, and they were nipped by the Steelers, who had 63 points.
Defensive struggle.
It sure was.
First and 10 at the 48. Hector spinning away from the tackler. I guess there's maybe a moral here for announcers when you go out and watch practice sessions. You know, can't judge by the atmosphere.
No.
Or the attitude of the two teams. If judging from the way the Browns reacted, you figure they had this one won. The Jets didn't show much emotion. Very businesslike in their approach to the practice session yesterday, but they came out prepared today.
Michael Dean Perry is in there, so obviously Golick has been taken out. Golick has been suffering with those that stomach abdominal muscle problem, and Michael Dean's in there getting some much-needed experience.
Second down and 15 with 5:15 left in the fourth quarter. Johnny Hector across midfield to the 48-yard line, tackled by Mike Johnson. The Jets last won a regular season game with the Browns in 1985 in New York when they won 37-10.
There's Joe Walton. Yesterday, with all the enthusiasm that he always seems to generate, was concerned, of course. He was more concerned, I think, Mel, about the plays that really, the miscues at the line of scrimmage, the bad calls last week, but he sure got the turnaround today.
4.5 remaining fourth quarter, 23-3 Jets. O'Brien's pass is complete for a first down at the 36-yard line to Mickey Schuler. For those viewers who have just joined us, we hope you stay around to watch Rags to Riches. It'll be seen in its entirety immediately following football, except for Mountain and Pacific time zone stations, where the program will be seen at its regular time. Here in Cleveland, with 4 minutes remaining, the Browns are out of timeouts. The Jets leading 23-3. They have a first down to Cleveland 36. Hector for about 4 yards to the 31-yard line. And let's pause 5 seconds for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network. Proctor with Aldi Rogatis at Cleveland Stadium, where the Jets lead by 20 points with 3.5 remaining. And what were the major differences that determined the outcome of this game?
Well, it's the thing I think we said at the top of the game. I thought the first quarter was going to be very important. I thought the Jets, if they could have shown some enthusiasm and controlled that line of scrimmage, they might have a chance. And they did control the line of scrimmage. They've done it all day on both sides of the line.
On 2nd and 5, the give is to Roger Vick, wrestled down by Clay Matthews.
Probably the only bright spot really on that defensive team has been Clay Matthews. He's never quit. He's been coming all day.
The Browns were banged up following last week's game, and the training room will be full again this week. Hanford Dixon, Frank Minifield both got hurt. Gary Danielson suffered a broken ankle. Carl Hairston limped off the field. Bob Golick is hurting, playing with torn stomach muscles. He's left the game. I love Golick's line. He said, "I'm not worried, although I have a bad stomach." He said, "I play better when I feel lousy."
There he is. Al Toon obviously means a great deal to this team. Now with Houston coming in the Giants Stadium next week for the game against the Jets, it's an enormous win for the New York Jets.
And the Jets will take a timeout. Houston will face the Jets in New York next week. And on Monday the 19th, the Colts will face the Browns here in Cleveland. Superb game for Kenny O'Brien this afternoon. Had good protection. Distributed his passes, used all of his receivers, mixed in the running game. Roger Vick with a couple of touchdowns. Solid performance by the Jets defense, holding Cleveland to only 3 points. The Jets can be proud of this effort. Next Sunday, join NBC Sports for more exciting football action. Kick off your day with NFL Live at 12:30. Then our regional coverage of Week 3 includes defending AFC champion Denver Broncos against the Kansas City Chiefs, the Bengals against the Steelers. Check your local listings for the game in your area. 2 minutes, 12 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. 23-3 New York. On third down, the give to Johnny Hector. Hector for about 3 yards. A tackle made by Marlon Jones, a 260-pound second-year man from Central State in Ohio. And Pat Ryan is coming into the game now, the backup quarterback. And we get the 2-minute warning here in Cleveland with the score. The Jets 23, the Browns 3. Pat Leahy, who's already kicked 3 field goals, comes in for the New York Jets with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. The Jets ahead 23-3. So Leahy will be attempting a field goal of 45 yards with Pat Ryan holding for him. A big day for Kenny O'Brien. Completed 19 of 30 passes for 256 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions. And now O'Brien is coming back onto the field, so apparently Joe Walton has changed his mind. It's 4th and 2. He had the field goal unit on the field. Now O'Brien comes back out.
Now let's see if this offensive line can do it one more time. Joe just obviously wants the first down just to kill the clock completely. The ball game is over. The Jets won it. The offensive line did it.
Hector and Vick are the running backs. 4th down 2 as Wesley Walker is in motion. They give to Hector. He needs 2 yards for the first down. And it'll be close. Mike Johnson made the stop on him. So with 1:52 left, they are short of the first down, and the Browns will take over. Well, we've talked all day about the improved play of the New York Jets offensive line, and Al and I have selected today's most valuable player, the offensive line. And Budweiser will make a contribution to the United Way on behalf of the Jets offensive line. Tackles Dave Cadigan, Reggie McElroy, the guards Ted Banker and Dan Alexander, and the center Jim Sweeney, the MVP in today's game. Browns take over on downs. Mike Pagel's pass is complete. Ernest Finer tripped up at the 32-yard line by Bobby Humphrey, who has had an outstanding day with 6 tackles, 2 sacks, and a fumble recovery.
You know, Mel, they could make the argument that the defense, and me being an old defensive player, the defensive line should have been considered, and they should have been considered, and they were. But
the jury ruled.
The jury ruled. It was a vote of 1.
Mark Gastineau, who had a sack in the first half, and as you recall, taunted the dog pound, holding the football up and waving it at them. Delay of game penalty against the defense. Check the Jets report card. A lot of A-pluses on the report card this afternoon. O'Brien with a ball control passing attack. 151 yards rushing. Mickey Schuler had 5 receptions. Leahy with 3 field goals. Give the offensive line an A+, the defensive line an A+. .142 left in the fourth quarter, 23-3 New York. Mike Pagel throwing deep for Gerald McNeil. And it's incomplete. Rich Miano wanted to spike it. Marty Schottenheimer has a difficult task, doesn't he, with his first 2 quarterbacks down. Danielson probably out for the year. Kozar out 4 to 8 weeks. And they were talking about whether or not to put Kozar on the injured reserve list. If they made that decision, he would have been out a minimum of 4 weeks. Unfortunately, they have not decided to do that. He is merely inactive. So if his condition improves, he could come back in a couple of weeks. But he's still saying at least 4 weeks.
At least.
Second down and 5 with 1:34 left. Pagel over the middle, and the pass is caught.
You know, there's something about prevent defenses that has always intrigued me. It's the one defense that everybody gains against.
Eric McMillan makes the stop for the Jets on Glenn Young, his first reception of the year. He was just re-signed this week. Pagel trying to get it into the end zone, throws short for Reggie Langhorne, and he's out of bounds. Chased out by Carl Howard with 1:05 left. But there is not enough time left for the Browns. Immediately following coverage, our football coverage, we will present Rags to Riches in its entirety, except for Mountain and Pacific time zone stations, where the program will be seen at its regular time. Rags to Riches. That could be story of the Jets the past 2 weeks. From a disappointing 28-3 loss in New England last week to a victory over the Browns in Cleveland this afternoon.
And the reverse might be true, unfortunately, for the Cleveland Browns.
Complete to Langhorne inside the 20, and he's got a first down with less than a minute remaining. Langhorne mixing it up with Eric McMillan.
Well, the Cleveland Browns have a chance to score their first touchdown of the year, a meaningless touchdown, but they can do it.
Pagel's pass complete to Brian Brennan at the 10-yard line, a gain of 12 for another first down. Carl Howard makes the stop. Cleveland is out of timeouts. Jets leading 23-3. Pagel into the end zone, and it's picked off by James Hasty. So Hasty, the rookie third-round pick from Washington State, Joe Walton was so high on him, and he has his first NFL interception. Well, with 16 seconds left, it's the Jets 23 and the Browns 3. We've already seen the Jets report card. Let's grade the Browns. Gary Danielson 13 for 23 before he suffered a broken ankle and had to leave the game. The rushing attack anemic. That's surprising with the likes of Miner and Mack. And now the Jets are just going to run it out, take a victory home to New York.
You think Manoa had 70 yards in the second half last week?
No, a big win for Joe Walton's New York Jets as they defeat the Cleveland Browns 23-3. For the Browns, their worst defeat since December 22nd, 1985, when the Jets beat them 37-10.